All right, let's get this over with. I said that as if I'm not enthusiastic to do this, but hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fun with Flame. I'm your host, Danieltheflame, and today I am going to watch a video from the Birdman. This is a YouTuber who, for a long time now, I've not for a long time, but recently I've been getting recommended his videos, and I saw one in particular, and I was like, wow, this dude has really crazy takes. And so he spoke about a recent controversial issue, as you can see on the screen. Race and original characters the left pretends to misunderstand, which is an Eric July video. Now, what I find weird is that the Eric July video is like 4 minutes long, and Birdman's video, as you can see, is 30 minutes long. So obviously he's gonna have a lot to say. That being the case, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that obviously my video will probably be longer because I'll be critiquing his video. Now, I have seen the Aristocratic Utensil, I believe that's his name, the YouTuber, also speak to about the Birdman, and what was funny was that they actually had a back and forth. So Aristocratic Utensil spoke on a video Birdman did, and then Birdman did a video talking about what Aristocratic Utensil did. And what was funny is that he completely missed everything that the Aristocratic Utensil was bringing up and talking about in his video, explaining and breaking down things for Birdman. And I find it weird to say Birdman because I think of the producer, and it's just it's just weird. And also the fact that your icon is Blanca, or that you would use Blanca for that. But yeah, and then but their back and forth was funny to me because Aristocratic Utensil kept pointing out the fact that the Birdman basically would just either be disingenuous or misrepresent anything that he said, or basically just not understand anything or any of the takes that the Aristocratic Utensil was bringing to light. And that's like, so I was like, hey, whatever. Just randomly got this video recommended to me after I didn't even look at Eric July's video about this, and I'm subscribed to the guy, but I didn't even watch it. It was like whatever, as far as manga and anime are concerned. And you know me, that's my bread and butter. I love anime, and manga. But it's like, as far as this topic was concerned, it wasn't really that big of a deal. And honestly, it's just a nothing burger. But since YouTube recommended this, I guess I need to speak about it for some reason. So I will. Let's see what's said and what I agree with. This should be fun. God, I hope I
Our
don't play.
friend Eric July has returned with another video, this time talking about race and original characters, specifically mentioning this tweet, where a half black, half Japanese character has been created with the intention to confront the issues half black and half Japanese people encounter while growing up in Japan.
Oh, well, I would say first things first, with that topic being the case, um, did anyone ask for that? Now I'm being the double advocate right here because it's like, I'm what I'm saying is specifically negative, and just, yes, anime has a slew of slice of life stories, as well as touching on deep and emotional issues, as well as like crazy concepts and whatnot. But at the same token, as far as just for a selling standpoint, just going off of just the core aspect of entertainment, or capitalism, if you will, uh, having a story that is about a marginalized group of people in an area that would essentially make them far more marginalized than any other place, then also being in a niche genre, which is manga, as well as being something that essentially is tackling a personal and a very I want to say accurate. That's the wrong word, but something that's just not really that much of a social standpoint that those people would actually even get behind as like a main thing that a lot of them would want to read or book up on. Like, how many Japanese people, especially those that indulge in anime and manga, do you see that would truly be like, ooh, seeing the harshness of a half black, half Japanese person living in Japan is right up there with everything, like right up there on my bucket list of things I really want to do. And I'm not saying that it's not a story that couldn't be compelling or good or interesting or whatnot. I'm just saying that I find it difficult to think that it would be just off glance from the general idea behind the thing. But again, I'm not, not saying that it's not something that might not just be like knock it out of the park. It's like, wow, this is a very good, touching, and amazing story. But I'd be remiss to not I said again, to not bring up the fact that the most popular manga in Japan is One Piece, which ain't got nothing to do with the themes of essentially a slice of life, personalized race thing, or racial concept thing. So just just keep that in the back burner. And while we go on with this video, but I just wanted to state that just off rip from hearing the thing.
Eric shows this quote tweet where Night Mode Season confronts racists that say to create a
Well, let me read it. It says, racist niggas be like, stop blackwashing characters. Make your own characters. But when a nigga makes their own characters, y'all get mad. He forgot to put the quotation on y'all. But who's mad? Well, let's see. Like he's responding to, I guess the first tweet, which was that Viz Media announced it, which is okay. Viz Media doing it. That's major publication for manga. Announcement being mixed race in Japan, like Kazumi means facing daily trials of racism, microtransgressions, and otherness. Okay. This is a journey of resilience, hope, and the search for coexistence. Half is More, Volume 1 by Yukio Fujimi, releases summer of 2026. Okay. Why'd you immediately go in with the nigga and everything if this was the tweet you're essentially quoting? That's wow. Like you went off the deep end.
original black characters and by extension stop race swapping. But when those characters are created, those same racists still complain, as you can see by our friend Kang Min Lee chiming in with
Shut
his
up. Everyone is
unemployed
so
take.
sick and
And
tired of
no,
this
I don't
garbage.
consider being hired by other racist loser rags to be employed. For example, is being the secretary for a grand wizard of the KKK really a job? All that tells me is that you can't be employed by regular people in normal society, but I'm digressing. Given that I am uniquely suited to talk about this topic, I thought it could be interesting to
How? How are you uniquely suited to talk about this topic? What what happened?
provide a rebuttal for Eric's points. So let's take a listen.
Now, if you've been following me, you know I've spoke about this a countless amount of times. A lot of videos that I used to do on YouTube was talking about tokenization, what some call maybe blackwashing. You know, taking these characters that are classically or have been classically portrayed in one way.
I just want to admit that's where I stopped watching Eric July's video. Right there. He mentioned that. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I just stopped watching. Because I've heard him speak on tokenization. And like he's gone in very detailed information about tokenization, how he feels about it. So it was never anything to be like, oh yeah, like this was a, like even something that would be new would be like he would say anything different. So it's like not dissing Eric July, but it's like obviously, it's just obviously you kind of like if you know the guy, then you understand exactly what he was going to get into, and I feel like maybe the Birdman here just doesn't know who Eric July is and what he's done to accumulate the mindset to have whatever point he's about to give. But hey, to each his own. It was like I enjoy Eric July. I'm subscribed to the guy. I enjoy what he's done and everything that he's accomplished. And more power to you, man.
And they swap them, and oftentimes it's for social or political reasons.
True.
Incorrect. First of
No,
all,
no, 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 no. That is not incorrect. That is very correct. There's literally no reason to race swap a character for for any concept in media outside of it having some type of political standpoint behind it. There's never been a moment where you race swapped a character and it was just genuinely like, oh no, like this is the best person for the job or anything like that. It's weird, but it's like there are. I would have to bring up Shawshank Redemption, where um you have a character that genuinely was supposed to be Irish that had red hair, and that character was red, who Morgan Freeman then plays. And if you was to tell me, hey, there's someone else that we got, like we found an Irish person with red hair to play the character of Red in Shawshank Redemption, do you want to see that? I'd tell you no, because I only can see Morgan Freeman playing that character because he played it perfectly. He played it fucking great. But I you gotta admit that we're now in an age where the idea of things just being done for the sake of being done and it's not really questioned or anything like that is it's over with. Now everything has a weird concept behind it. Everything is political. Everything has some weird notion of race baiting, race swappings, or some equality type bullshit being done behind it. It's weird. And again, it's like I'd adhere to the older shit to say like, okay, not everything was done with that mentality behind it. But now newer stuff, no, no, you can't bring that up as an argument at all, especially if you're going to use the media and stuff that was done back then, because that stuff was just made for entertainment. And it's like, can like Morgan Freeman's voice just as a narrator, and it's like he was the narrator for the movie. He technically the main character is Red. It's just that Red is narrating the life of the other guy. I can't even remember his name because I just remember Morgan Freeman character, Andy Dufresne. Now I remember Andy Dufresne. But it's like, yeah, like as of now, the idea behind race baiting tokenization and shit like that, and it's like you can't really uphold the stuff that was done in the past towards the stuff that's being done now. All of this stuff now has that negative connotations behind it, but the stuff from before, and it's like, probably just done for entertainment, probably just done because best person for the job, probably just done because it was like, hey, why not adapt this differently or adapt this crazy, or this might be better suited for the movies or whatnot. So now that I think about it, it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. So I would contend it's not every time. It wasn't that wasn't done every time in the past, but in the present, yes, in the present, it's done all the time.
Oftentimes, it's for social or political reasons,
incorrect.
Well, I guess to get a clarity from him, have him say like exactly when he means it. And it's like
or have been classically portrayed in one way. Taking these characters that are classically or have been classically portrayed in one way, and they swap them, and oftentimes it's for social or political reasons.
Incorrect. First of all, Eric is misusing the word tokenization. Tokenism, in its correct sociological context, is the practice.
for Wikipedia, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Okay, this is shit. Tell me you're dumb without telling me you're dumb. You used Wikipedia for your definition of the word. The site that literally can be freely and actively altered at any point in time for a definition. No, from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Like what the fuck? That's aggravating. Like you could have, Jesus Christ. This is fucking that's fucking annoying. Jesus.
Of a company or a business making a hollow attempt.
Go back.
Context is the practice.
He said he's used the word wrong.
Tokenism, in its correct sociological context, is the practice of a company or a business making a hollow attempt at giving the appearance of racial or gender equality, and it's important to emphasize the hollowness of the attempt. If you don't understand, just watch a scene from this underrated 21st century classic film.
I am the
Wait,
token.
wait a minute, wait a minute. So how does he? Okay, so you're gonna get in depth into the definition of how you perceive tokenism based off of what it was said on Wikipedia, but you're not explaining how Eric July used the term incorrectly. Because all he did was just state that companies apply tokenism, but he didn't specify exactly what was being tokenized to the point where you can refute him defining it incorrectly, or am I mistaken? Because all he said is just that companies tokenize shit. Let's go back. Let's check it back. We got 30 minutes, people, and it's already in the first minute fucking up.
Countless amount of times, a lot of videos that I used to do on YouTube was talking about tokenization, what some call maybe blackwashing. You know, taking these characters that are classically or have been classically portrayed in one way, and they swap them, and oftentimes it's for social or political reasons.
Incorrect. First of all, Eric is misusing the word tokenization. Tokenism, in its correct sociological
Now let me. Okay, so I wonder, is there a difference between tokenization and tokenism? Because he pulled up the definition of tokenism. Now I can understand if it was like, it one would adhere to the other. But let's see. Tokenism, the practice of making only perfunctory. I've said that wrong. I'm saying it wrong. I know I am. Perfunctory or symbolic effort to do a particular thing. Of making only a perpetuary, and then this word I believe means like just just random action, or just prefunct prefunctory. Ugh, that's gonna be hard. I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping with that word in my head. The action or gesture carried out with a minimum of effort or reflection. Okay, so that's what that word means. So then it's like the practice of making only a perfunctory or symbolic effort. So something that just fuck, I forgot the definition immediately. Okay, so something that action or gesture with minimum or no effort or reflection. Um, Carried out with a minimum of effort or reflection. Okay, so something that's just done on the fly, but you really didn't think that much about. It was done. The practice of making only a minimal effort gesture or symbolic effort to do a particular thing. Okay, so making only a perfunctory or symbolic effort to do a particular thing, especially by re recruiting a small number of people from underrepresented groups in order to give the appearance of sexual or racial equality within a workforce. Hmm. So that's tokenism. Okay. And then let's not he yeah, he brought up tokenism. Okay, so let's tokenization. Let's see. Token. I know I'm spelling it wrong, but let's see, tokenization. Does this have a different definition? Well, AI, that always helps. Fuck. That's tokenization. Tokenization is converting sensitive data into non-sensitive digital replacement called token. That goddamn. Well, according to Google's AI, tokenization is the process of converting sensitive. It did it again. I think I did it wrong. Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna just give up on that. But okay, but in accordance to what was stated prior, as far as like what tokenism is, and it's like what did he say that was wrong?
Logical context is the practice of a company or a business making a hollow.
And then he says the practice of a company or business. Okay, you brought up the definition, and the definition says sociologically tokenism is the social practice of making a perfunctory, symbolic effort towards adequate, equitable inclusion of members of a minority group, especially by recruiting people from underrepresented social minorities groups in order for the organization to give the public appearance of racial and gender equality, usually within a workplace, government, or a school. Usually, that doesn't mean that it's specifically and only can be done that. It's just says usually. Okay, so there, that's the craw in your soup right there. You dumbass. You can't. You read this wrong, and you put this definition up, the one you got from Wikipedia. But the government or school, the sociological purpose of tokenism is to give the appearance of inclusivity to a workplace or a school that is not a culturally diverse, racial, religion, sexual, etc., as the rest of society. Yeah, and that's for a the sociological purpose of tokenism. And so essentially that would be in terms of my melding a socially uh group or workplace area, something like that. So yeah, like you would define it as a workplace or school, but as it says, usually within a workplace or government. And it's like, yes, it might not be a part of the sociological purpose, but the sociological purpose would generally be just in order to incorporate that or to bring forth a group of people together that otherwise would not be together because of racial, sexual, or religious differences. And so then you kind of force that in order for the workplace or school to not feel bad about the fact that they don't have all of that. So yeah, I hate to break it to you, Birdman, you read your definition wrong, dude. You cherry picked, which is not a good thing when you're trying to argue something like this. And again, we're only a fucking minute in, and you've already been you're profoundly wrong and incorrect, and that's weird. It's like you probably shouldn't cherry pick because he's not incorrect, because again, what he stated is that they commit to tokenization regularly within a lot of these companies, organizations, and things like that. And so by that metric, he's not wrong. Do you understand that? Do you get that? Or you just seeing red? And like when you're just seeing red, you're just gonna cherry pick and say whatever until you get your point across to make yourself feel right. Whatever. I give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Maybe you'll surprise me.
Giving the appearance of racial or gender equality. And it's important to emphasize the hollowness of the attempt. If you don't understand, just watch a...
Where does it say hollowness? Organization gives the public appearance of racial transparency, government school design. The purpose of it is give the appearance of an inclusive workplace, a school that is not as culturally diverse for the rest of society. Where the fuck do you see hollowness? The hollowness is not in here. So you're about to harp on us. Jesus Christ. So you made up some shit that you're about to harp on. And it's not even in the definition that you chose to put into your video to explain your point on why someone else is wrong. Nigga, you wrong. What the fuck? You can't do that. That doesn't make any sense.
Scene from this underrated 21st century classic film.
I am the token black guy.
Okay. This is from Not Another Teen Movie. If you don't know anything about Not Another Teen Movie, go watch it. It's funny. You'll see Chris Evans before he was Johnny Storm, actually. It's hilarious because the point of Not Another Teen Movie is that it's a parody movie for all the teenage movies that came out around like the 2000s and the 90s and whatnot. They make fun of them all, and it's very funny and entertaining. But this is the token black guy. The joke about his character is that all he does is says damn shit, and that is whack because he's a token black guy. He's not supposed to matter. He actually going to say it.
I'll stay out of the conversation and say things like damn, shit, and that is whack.
A few moments
later. And that's it. That's the accumulation of his character. Are you about to show the rest of it? Yeah, you are. You're showing the rest of it. Okay, not necessary.
No.
On their chest.
Oh, that is whack.
As you can see,
Yeah, so oh no, I'm gonna get hit with an ad. No, not an ad. Don't do an ad, you bitch. It's an ad. Yay, skip. I'm watching something. You son of a bitch.
tokenism is the usage of black people and other minority groups as window dressing and not an
No, it isn't. The definition just literally stated what it.
earnest attempt at including them in the important aspects of that business or media property. A minimal acceptance, in other words. Tokenism is hypocrisy. One little student in the University of Mississippi, that's hypocrisy. A handful of students in Little Rock, Arkansas is hypocrisy. All this little tokenism that is dangled in front of the Negro, and then he's told, see what we are doing for you, Tom? What Eric is doing here is referring to legacy characters and characters that are race or gender swapped as tokens. On its face, this doesn't make any sense given the context.
How not? How? Okay, he said, given the context, so he's about to explain it. I'm getting upset before he's even finished explaining. I apologize. Let me go back.
As tokens. On its face, this doesn't make any sense given the context I just added.
What?
Nick Fury was a
No, that does make sense given the context as you just added. The whole point of even using the Malcolm X quote was the fact that Malcolm X was stating that just because you throw in a black person here or there doesn't necessarily mean that you've done anything to help the black race. You've only satiated your need to not feel bad about excluding our people or anything of that matter. So the fact and the idea of that, him essentially addressing the fact that tokenizing characters in any metric, whether it be introducing a character who is black or introducing a female who is otherwise a male, would just genuinely be that. Everything else is the same, and yet for whatever reason, these small instances and these different, just a character happens to be race swapped, or these small groups of people happen to be diversified and whatnot. There's no logic behind it. And again, you're taking legacy characters and race swapping them with no intent behind it other than you're trying to give some inclusion to another race. And that's literally tokenism. How the fuck could it not be tokenism? Just because you disagree with that aspect doesn't mean it's not tokenism. It's like, even if you happen to like a character that was race swapped, doesn't mean that it wasn't done with an intent of being tokenized. Again, if they've always been shown, perceived, and looked a particular way, or have been showcased as a particular race, creed, code, sexuality, or religion, and then you remove that in order to replace it with something else, that is a problem. That would be considered tokenization. If Daredevil all of a sudden came out and he was Jewish, that would be a clear-cut concept of tokenization. Why? Because I can't really name you that many Jewish characters that exist within comic books because I don't know anything about their religion. But I do know that Daredevil is a very devout Catholic. Super Catholic. He's a very devout Catholic, as it comes up and is brought up in a lot of the subject matter revolving around Daredevil. So if someone was to do anything and you were to change Daredevil's religion, I would immediately pick up on that because I know that him being Catholic is a very major part of his character. So I would notice that. I would notice it, pay attention to it, and I would have questions about it because it's like, why did you make him Jewish? What is the significance behind that? What exactly? Why would you do that? And that again would be a clear sign of tokenism. It doesn't mean that it's not. It is. And it's like, whether or not, if they made a bomb-ass movie with him just happening to be Jewish, that'd be the case. But it still would be, why did they make him Jewish in order to accomplish this? If his religion even being introduced had nothing to do with the movie, then that again would ask further questions, which is what typically happens when it comes to this tokenization shit, is that you're doing this for the sake of doing it, not because it actually is going to improve anything. You just did it. You just did it to do it, and there you go. Let's keep going. This guy's weird.
Called race swap. Do you feel that this character was simply window dressing in the MCU?
Yes.
That they cast Samuel L. Jackson because they needed black representation?
Yes.
Or did they do that because Nick Fury was made black in the Ultimate Universe because the writer, Mark Miller, just thought Samuel L. Jackson was cool? The difference.
What does that have to do with anything? Him thinking that the character is cool, and then him making a character completely change his race in order for him to be Samuel Jackson that he thinks is cool is retarded. That is retarded. It is retarded for you to even bring that up and say that. I need you to understand exactly why that is retarded and should be considered retarded. Because if he thought Samuel Jackson was cool and he wanted to make a character that looked like Samuel Jackson within the Ultimate Series, why didn't he just make a brand new character? See, one of the major arguments behind tokenization and people who want to defend the goofy shit that happens, especially within comics, is that they have no rebuttal for the question that is, why didn't they just make a new character? Because that's not an impossible thing for them to have done. It's not. And it's not as if it would have been met with any scrutiny, with any issues, with any problems. There could have been a litany of characters that they could have made that look like fucking Samuel Jackson. If you wanted to make Samuel Jackson the next leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., then you could have killed off Nick Fury and then made Samuel Jackson the next leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. But he didn't have to be Nick Fury. But you specifically wanted Nick Fury, white guy, with an eye patch and a silver and a streak of white going down his hair, to be replaced with a black man with a bald head having an eye patch. Why? What was the point? Could he be the only character in Marvel that has an eye patch? No, he doesn't have to be. You could add. Again, there's no reason to not have made Samuel Jackson's character or anything that looks like Samuel Jackson exist within Marvel or the MCU or the Ultimate Series or any regular Marvel fucking comic without needing to get rid of the actual Nick Fury or make him the new black Nick Fury. Why is he the black Nick Fury? He does not have to be the black Nick Fury. Now, there could have been an argument if they would not have done that in the fucking Ultimate Series, because let's face it, the Ultimate Series was basically the gateway for all of the goofy shit that they did within the movies, especially within the late 2000s. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, hell, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is based a lot off the Ultimate Series because they was like, this is how you get the kids. And so come with that is like a lot of the goofy ideas that they had, like, hey, Nick Fury being introduced as Samuel Jackson. The guy literally made Samuel Jackson in the fucking comics. It'd be dumb for them not to get him in the movies. But if they would have never did that into the comics, if they never would have made Nick Fury black within the comics, and then you introduce Samuel Jackson as black within the movies, then you got something. Then we could have had an actual decent discussion where it was like just the screen presence as an actor and what that would have brought forth in terms of what the fuck Nick Fury is and what actor could have bring that to light. Hey, Samuel Jackson, he did it. You again bring up Shawshank Redemption. We ain't got all this crazy ass race shit within the comics and whatnot. It's just that this is what we did for the movie. Take it or leave it, and it be its own separate universe, like it should be. Take it or leave it. It would be met with scrutiny, but you would not look on it as this. It would still be tokenization. That is a fact. It would still be tokenization, but it would be less under the guise of this happened during the time when Marvel lost its goddamn mind and they were just race swapping, gender swapping, and doing whatever the hell they wanted to with their comics, and it all led to them not making money. So it's retarded to even bring up the fact that someone else was like, oh, I thought Samuel Jackson was cool, and that justifies everything that he could possibly have done in terms of making this character, who is white, be black all of a sudden. That doesn't justify it. That's just an excuse. Oh, I just think he's cool. Okay. Why didn't you make another character then? That was Samuel Jackson. Hell, you could have made him alternate spy or something like that. Who's the leader of S.W.O.R.D? I don't fucking know. It's like, could have been Samuel Jackson. Who's the leader of Hammer? I don't fucking know. Could have been Samuel Jackson. Those are other organizations that exist that are like secret government organizations and whatnot. But did it have to be S.H.I.E.L.D.? Did it have to be Nick Fury? No, it doesn't. But again, it's like, when people think like this, it's so stupid and disingenuous because it's like this comes from nothing. And it's like there's no logical reason as to why he did this. And it's like he just wanted to do it. Okay. But this became who Nick Fury is and only Nick Fury that people know. Nah. It's goofy. It's just goofy.
This is an earnest attempt. This is why calling characters like Miles Morales, Sam Wilson, and Riri Williams tokens makes no sense. There have been
No, it makes perfect sense. Dude, what the fuck are you not getting? Even upon your definition, it's something that's done hollow. This is all of those things for those characters were done in a hollow attempt to make a black character take over the mantle of a known white character. There is no depth and complexity behind any of them. Miles didn't get any type of depth into his character until they gave him a fucking movie. Ever since Miles was introduced within the MCU, it was with a lackluster mentality. So much so that not the MCU, in Marvel Comics. So much so when him being introduced to Marvel Comics led to them giving him a what if series if he was just to replace a whole slew of other superheroes. How fucking terrible is that? If you read comics, you can understand exactly how sad and bad that would be in terms of an identity behind a character. Where it's like the actual people who are running the ship don't know what to do with a guy who they specifically made to replace another guy. I don't know what to do with him now because he makes no sense. And so to even sit there and say where you have Riri Williams or Sam Wilson and Miles Morales, who were all characters that took over a mantle that belonged to a white guy the entire time that they've existed. Whether or not they've been killed off or dead or whatnot within the comic books do comic book shit, whatever, it still doesn't change the fact that where it goes, why are they being replaced by this black? why is this blackamoor taking up the spot for some reason? There's no justification behind it. It's only done in a hollow sense. It's only done so that the company was able to sit there and scream and shout to everybody, look how inclusive we are. Don't the blacks want to see this movie now? Can't we show this character doing a whole bunch of stuff now? Look, Logic made a song called Black Spider-Man. Ooh, don't you really, really want to see a Black Spider-Man? No, I just want to see a good Spider-Man movie. I don't give a fuck. Spider-Man is Peter Parker, though. That's who's always been Peter Parker. There is no identity crisis behind any of these characters that needs to be resolved by having them change race, creed, or code or anything like that, or sexual orientation. You just need to do right by the character. And the character, whether or not they're predominantly white, leave it alone. There are black existing characters within Marvel. Why isn't the argument the fact that those black existing characters are not partnered up with even these new tokenized characters? How the fuck does that not make any sense? As much as everyone loves Black Panther, what have they done with his comic? Shit. They've done shit all with his comic. No one gives a fuck. And now the biggest thing to come out of his comic was the fact that guess what they did? They made they made the new Black Panther white. Wow. Where have we seen that before? Oh yeah, look at this shit right here. When you're out of ideas and you're fucking stupid, you do shit like replace a character's race just to build in intrigue so they can go, now I feel represented. And so a character that's known for being black, that literally has black in his name, that's from fucking Africa, has a white guy that's taken over his mantle. And that makes sense why. Just is it's like, dude, you want to talk to these people? It's like you just want to sit them down and have them watch Jurassic Park, but only when Jeff Goldblum was talking. Like, you were so busy thinking that you could do something, you never stopped to think if you should. And no truer words were spoken when speaking to anyone that was just a fucking idiot when it came towards creating. It's like, ooh, I know about this. I should go do that. Yeah. Should you though? Oh, yeah. That'd be dumb, wouldn't it? Yeah. See what happens when you stop and get a minute, get some breathing room, and you realize how fucking retarded it is. Hell, even Sam Wilson taking over the mantle of Captain America, and it's like, why wasn't it Bucky? It make more sense for it to have been Bucky rather more so than a redemption aspect for him as a character. But also, it was pointed out again, ironically enough, in this Eric July video that I watched, where his mindset towards it, because he's actually a comic book fan, why isn't it that we don't have, or we don't see the Falcon doing things? The Falcon actually had adventures, villains, characters he fought and whatnot. He wasn't particularly, he didn't start off as Captain America's sidekick. He was his own character. Then they made him Captain America's sidekick because his comics didn't sell. But now we're in this new age where people now know about the Falcon and they like him more and they expect other things. So we could have actually done something with the Falcon. The Falcon could have been cool. The Falcon could have just been the Falcon in the Winter Soldier show. It didn't need to end with him getting an ugly suit and telling someone that they had to do better. It could have just been the Falcon. I would prefer if he was just still the Falcon, but he had the Captain America shield. That probably would have been better. But we don't have that. So, whatever. 3 minutes. Fuck. This is bad. This is really bad.
Attempts at these legacy characters. This is the problem with Eric's position. He attributes malice without any evidence, suggesting that
What the fuck are you talking about? Where was their malice, dude? He just explained himself. You didn't even let his video go anywhere. I'm tearing down your shit because of how bad this is. But it's like he didn't say anything. He was just bringing up the fact that he's like, yeah, he's talked about tokenism and tokenization. And a lot of his videos, again, he has a slew of videos breaking this down and talking about the shit. And it's like, there's a lot. There's a lot. The dude liked comic books, and he kept bringing that stuff up. And it's like, so all he did was bring up the fact that it's like, if people know who he is, they know that he's someone who is actively, outwardly discussed and talked about tokenism and tokenization within comic books and other forms of media. That's it. That's all that his little video said. You started showing all this weird, goofy shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? Goofy.
these characters only exist for political reasons. Referring to black characters in these properties as tokens insinuates that being white is the default, and therefore black characters have to justify their existence in a story, otherwise they're token.
Motherfucker, you is retarded. Damn, you stupid. You cannot have honestly said what you just said and think that it made any fucking sense. Jesus Christ. You're not even following your own shit and what you just explained in terms of what tokenism is, let alone what the fuck Eric July just said. Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with you? How the hell does that even compute in your brain as a concept that makes any fucking sense? Ooh, Jesus Christ. All right, let's break down this goofy shit. This nigga just outwardly just said that Eric July essentially has an issue with all black characters existing because they would then feel as if they're tokens because the default setting for characters is white. I would say no one has ever fucking said that. It makes no sense for anybody to fucking say that. The thing is that he's contributing to the fact that they are taking known characters that have existed, that are white, and then they are turning them black. Or they're turning them into women. They're turning them gay. They're turning them Asian. They're doing goofy shit for no apparent reason other than the fact that they're trying to showcase and talk to the rest of the world. Hey, here, look at me. Look at what we did. Aren't we allies? Give us money. At the end of the day, the only reason entertainment exists is so it can make some money. At the end of the day, the only reason greedy fucking corporations like these would do any of this shit is because of money. And at the end of the day, if these characters already existed and they were white, then yes, the default setting for these characters are white. But these characters that we're discussing are replacing white characters with black people. That's the fucking issue. That's the fucking problem. Because at no point in time has anyone said anything bad about seeing any black character that exists and they just stay black and they not get a different name or anything like that. Why can't the Falcon just be the Falcon? Why is Miles Morales Spider-Man? why is Riri Williams Iron Man? But essentially, because making her a new Iron Man would have not made money, they made her Iron Heart. But they went out of their minds to painstakingly say that she's smarter than Tony Stark on all fundamental levels and whatnot, because it's just so fucking genius and had this character. Stupid. It's stupid. Yet War Machine exists. No one's called him out as anything. You know why? Because War Machine was introduced, created, and made to just be this black guy that knows Tony Stark and got a suit of armor. And then he's able to go do War Machine shit. That's fine. That's great. That's cool. Riri Williams made her own Iron Man suit, contributed to herself, and then was cast out on the forefront in Marvel Comics. In Marvel Comics, as the brand new face for for Iron Man. Not that she was just gonna have her own thing. No, she was gonna be an Iron Man as the new Iron Man. But she's calling herself Ironheart though. But she's in Iron Man comics. How the fuck do you not understand exactly how stupid you are when you talk about this shit? When you sit there and you're trying to dissuade the actual conversation to go from, oh, this is like he's upset at the fact that they keep taking legacy characters and turning them black, gay, whatever, and that's that. Like, I don't agree with that mindset. So what he's saying is that he don't like any black character because the only characters that can exist is white. How the fuck you get that? Where the fuck did anyone say that? No one said that. That has never even been brought up. The only thing that this man said within the short minutes of the video that you even wasn't even minutes, it was fucking seconds. The only thing that he said was that he's talked about tokenization a lot. Nigga, you is fucking retarded. This is stupid. This is so stupid. Oh my goodness.
Characters have to justify their existence in a story, otherwise they're token. This would imply...
Who the fuck says... And then like going from that, and it's like you have to justify your existence, otherwise you're token. You're token if you sit there and put yourself in the shoes of a character that already exists, and then all of a sudden you just did a race swap. What the fuck would you do a race swap with a character? And then in order for them to justify the fact that they did a race swap with the character, they give the character an arc to prove their existence. So you're upset not with the person calling this shit out, but with the actual companies and organizations that have done everything they can to facilitate the shit that you basically don't like. To prove this character to be something. Look what Riri Williams did. She had to make her own Iron Man suit. The War Machine was given a suit. No one's doubting War Machine's capabilities or anything that he's done in order to be next to Iron Man as his friend or confidant or anything like that. And yet, Riri Williams literally has to go around and being told by everybody that she's smart. She's so smart. Look how smart she is. We're not seeing her do anything that would justify her being smart. Everyone's telling us that she's smart. That sounds like proving a tokenized character's existence. Let's see, Miles Morales, we'll give him extra powers. And then everyone just tells you how smart Miles is. And then Miles just talks about how much he don't want to do this, but then he has to. Wow, it's almost like everyone's telling him how great he is. Fuck, Miles got trained in the Ultimate series when he's introduced. He gets trained by Captain America of all people. The same motherfucker who got Spider-Man killed in the Ultimate series is the person who trains Miles because he can tell him how to be a hero. Get the fuck out of here. Now I'm mad for something completely different because the Ultimate series sucked. It just... it had promise and then it just whisked it all away because stupid. But fuck, man, like this is so dumb. This is so dumb for you to sit there and think that this can attribute to anything palpable of making just a lick of sense. Like, wow, dude, nah. It's just it's like, so in order for these black characters to exist, they have to prove their existence. What the fuck has T'Challa done? What has Black Panther done in order for anyone to say that he had to prove his existence? Fuck. As soon as he became popular, the first thing MCU did was kill him so they could replace him with his sister. Tokenization. And then what did they do? His sister became this super fucking genius that basically ran everything within fucking Wakanda. While as the whole thing behind T'Challa was that he was the second smartest person in all of the MCU. He literally was the second smartest person. The smartest being Reed Richards. So after Reed Richards, second smartest is T'Challa. And T'Challa chose to keep his people in his country away from everyone else because fuck them. And there's so many interesting things that they could have done, they could have said, and they could have had happen with his characters, but they just didn't understand. They just didn't do it. They just couldn't do it. And so instead of actually diving deep or doing more of the stories that made Black Panther popular, no, we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on some goofy shit. We're going to kill him. Then we're going to have his sister replace him. And then we're just going to tell you that his sister was just better than him. Jesus Christ, dude. This is dumb. Now I'm upset.
Imply that Eric himself is a token. I mean, the group he associates himself with are majority white men.
He's a token because he groups he's associated with is a majority of white men. Okay. Let's see. Comic books typically are a white man diverse crowd. YouTubers are themselves already are very rare and diverse, let alone YouTubers that would make a living talking about comic books. I would say that would be even more diverse. Seeing a nigga hater like you, I would say that's a diverse of diverse. I apologize. You not a nigga hater. Come on, nigga. You know I'm playing. I'm just playing. Woo. But I have seen signs of you cherry pick, so I'm pretty sure if he was to hear this video and talk about me being such a small YouTuber or a non-existent one, that he'd get upset. But hey, whatever. I don't care.
Has he justified his own existence in these spaces?
And then again, going by what you talked about as tokenism, he would have had to have been introduced into this group only because solely he was black, and then there's no justification behind him existing within these group of people because they've only talking to him or they only have him there for because he's black. As far as I'm concerned, out of everyone that you've just shown, he's the far more successful one, as he actually has a comic book company now that is selling, and he has basically made himself a millionaire by doing that. These guys are still pushing thousands of dollars, so it's like I understand what you're trying to say. You're just really bad at trying to say it because it's not true. Yeah, he doesn't have to prove his existence because again, this is someone who has a YouTube career with a back catalog of videos talking about comic books, expressing his love, his frustration, and his hatred of different types of comic books, and also accumulating that into building up a brand and essentially a voice that allowed people to recognize that he would be someone who would speak honestly and candidly about comic books. And then when he said that he was going to make his own company involving comic books, he did so. And when he did that, what was the first fucking thing he did? He introduced a black character. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Why would he do that? If he believes by default all characters should be white, which is what you said, you fucking moron. If he believed that, then his superhero characters would all be white. But he didn't do that. He made black superheroes. He made not only one, multiple, and then made millions off of selling those characters, proving that not only is there an industry for those characters, but also that people are willing to buy new characters, not legacy characters that have been race swapped, but also people are willing to support someone who's passionate and actually knowledgeable about the industry and just about the whole consistency when it comes towards character development, writing, and just good artwork. So, on all fucking fronts, it seems to me that he has proven himself to be around people who like to talk about comic books, because, it's either put up or shut up, and he put up. And then at the same time, he's not a part of these people because they brought him into the fold, but more so like-minded individuals tend to gather around and speak about things, especially when you can easily hate. Because it's like, if I hate this and you hate this, let's talk about how much we hate. And then you get money off of it because people pay them to hear them talk about why they hate it. And then they're knowledgeable about it. So when they bring up the multiple reasons as to why they hate it, you can trust that because it makes sense. But you don't understand that. Because you're stupid. That's the only thing that I can boil this down to. Because you have literally gone against your own fucking definition of the word token, as well as misrepresented someone based off of your wrong definition that you got off Wikipedia. And then you have continued to facilitate some type of weird agenda push that is basically showcased from the enemy, not from the ally. So it's like, that's not like Marvel is doing this weird, goofy shit that you keep talking about. But look at these people. All of them are mostly white. Whoop-de-fucking-do. You walk into a comic book store today. Well, I mean, you probably won't find a comic book store today. But if you walk into one, most of the people who are going to go there are white. Does that mean when you walk in there, you have been tokenized? See how that works? See how that works? You just fucking stupid. Stupid. 4 minutes. Damn you dumb.
Or is he the resident house nigga doing their bidding? Speaking
How?
of that, allow me to digress for a moment.
Please don't.
Therefore, I made a video about Eric 2 months ago.
Why?
I called Eric a house nigga in that video. In response, a couple of small and frankly irrelevant content creators that have made
That would be me. I didn't respond. I'm not saying that I responded to that, but I'm just saying like if he was to respond to this, which he probably won't, he would call me insignificant. When people get like that, you have to understand something, and this is just me genuinely speaking. Let me digress on his digress. You genuinely have to understand something. People who tend to talk down like that are people who are not willing to listen to anybody. As of right now, he's hating on Eric July simply because Eric July has accumulated the success that he did, and he doesn't like either his politics, mentality, or anything that he stated or said. So, like he been talking about the tokenization and harping on it for so fucking long when Eric July hasn't even gotten into the point of the goddamn manga yet, which again makes him, the Birdman, stupid. So they all like to be disingenuous. And again, you've already seen the classic sign of him cherry picking some shit, as well as him being incredibly disingenuous towards a topic or subject matter, as well as misconstrue information in order to fit what the fuck he's talking about rather than the actual topic that he brought up. So these people cannot be trusted in their rants or anything like that, or just the mentality of noticing somebody calling them out on something. So yeah, the people who might have responded to his video about Eric July might have said what they said, or if they got upset at him saying whatever he said, him being disingenuous towards their subscriber count or anything like that, it don't matter, because he's not someone who's going to pay attention to what they actually said or the subject matter that was brought up by some of the people. He's going to get upset and he's going to get mad and he's going to cherry pick what he heard, or what he read, and how he read it, and then he's going to twist that in any way that he can in order to facilitate and fit what he wants, which is his agenda. And his agenda is a hate one, where it's like, I just want to hate, but I gotta seem right. So he wrote a script, he's talking calmly, he's speaking about this shit, and he says something goofy stuff, and then he tries to talk in in a profound way with profanity in order to convey that, yes, I am intelligent, but also I'll fight you, nigga. I'll throw down you. You don't fuck with me. No. Again, it's stupid. It's incredibly stupid. It's stupid and disingenuous because he's now going off on tangent to bring up some shit he said in another video about this guy, when he hasn't even brought up what he don't like about this guy take in this video. Why do I care that you called him a house nigga in another video? If you call him a house nigga, you call him a house nigga. What the fuck you need to go into detail for? I'll call you a house nigga. You a house nigga. So it's like, if someone asks me, why'd you call him a house nigga? Nigga, look up what house nigga is, and then when I called him that's how I feel about the guy. Fuck him. Fuck Tom. Pretty sure that's Birdman's real name, Tom. If you get why that's funny, then congratulations. You do not need to look up what a house nigga is. But don't worry, he about to explain it. I'm about to listen to this shit. I'm gonna fast forward through
made it
it.
their personal goal to misrepresent me and my positions because they are upset that I call out bigotry in this series, have taken to calling me racist for calling Eric this phrase. Obviously, anyone with more than 16 brain cells will see right through this attempt to slander me, but for the sake of
Oh,
clarity,
it's slander. It is slander. You called him a house nigga. Like that is racist. If you would have called him a nigga, it could be considered racist. But whether or not it's used in your vocabulary, that's on you. It's like they call you racist because you used it. What do you do? But obviously, the issue right now is that that's a sore spot for you because when niggas like this want to be right and they want to call out other people and they think that calling out other people makes them superior in every way, shape, or form, again, especially when they're known for cherry picking some shit and getting shit fundamentally wrong, yeah, niggas like that don't like to be called racist because that's the word that upsets them the most. It's similar to white people in that aspect where it's like, yo, calling them racist like upsets a lot of white people because they don't want to be associated with that because they understand how negative that connotation is. But again, if you know you're okay, if you don't feel any hateful bone in your body and you just wanted to get your point across and you said what you said because that's how you felt at the time, then my nigga, move on. You good? It's fine. Quit your bitching. Like fuck being a racist. You sound like a bitch. Oh, but bitches gonna do what bitches gonna do. And you know what? When you hit a bitch, they tend to bark loudly. So to everyone who called the Birdman a racist, I'm pretty sure you made him squeal because that's the last thing he wanted to hear. He wanted you to call Eric July racist. That's what he wanted. But instead you turned it around and put it on him and he got mad. Ooh, did he get mad? Ooh boy, he got mad. 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. Fuck.
I'm going to explain this term, and while I will
Oh, fuck
continue
no.
using it for people like Eric July and others like him. First of all, I am a Black American. I am proud of this heritage, and I was taught to love myself by my parents and grandparents. This being the case, I occasionally speak African American vernacular English in my videos, otherwise known as Black slang or pejoratively, Ebonics. This is a language.
You know, it's funny. I've never associated slang as black slang. I've only ever said slang. I've never associated as black slang. It's just slang. That's all it's ever been. Now, yes, Ebonics exist, Ebonics, but I've only ever associated slang with just slang. Never said black slang. It seems weird to say black slang. It's just slang because you can say I've said multiple words that have been slang, and white people knew what I was talking about. It doesn't mean that it was only particular towards my race. It genuinely, slang itself is kind of associated with the area that you're in because you can go from one place to another, which I've done. I've moved from fucking Chicago to Texas and heard a huge variety of a different vocabulary and had to get used to what the fuck they were saying there. Not just because I was surrounded by white people. I was surrounded by whites, Mexicans, blacks, all that. And everyone, all of them were talking the same. And then when they heard me talk, they go, wow, you have an accent. And I couldn't hear it. And I would just go, well, I'm from Chicago. And they go, oh, damn, shout it. Texas was great. It was fun. It was fun for me. Boy.
Language that Black Americans speak amongst themselves and occasionally otherwise. It has its own syntax, phonology, and vocabulary.
Whoopsie fucking do, dude. What is that? What does that have to do with anything?
From American English terms that have been appropriated by other groups. A very recent example of the co-opting of Black American English is the term Black fatigue,
That's no
which
such
was
thing.
coined by a Black
That's no such thing. There's no such thing as black fatigue. I hate to break it to anyone who sits there and uses this term. It's the stupidest term in the world because there's no such thing. I've seen a majority of people use this term and they act as if it makes any fucking sense, and they can't explain it because the generalization of it is that they essentially associate something that was done that was incredibly ignorant, stupid, and just off the wall dumb And then because because it happened and it was appropriated by a black person, that means it associated with black fatigue because people are fed up with it. While no one makes the giant understanding, because I've also now heard white fatigue. No one puts in the generalized notion that maybe, just maybe, everyone is fed up with ignorant motherfuckers. And that ignorant, dumb motherfuckers, ignorant, dumb, just all around ignorant niggas. And any race, creed, or code could be a nigga. That's an ignorant motherfucker. Any nigga can just make you just so fucking tired with their stupidity that you have no reason to actually explain or adhere to what the fuck they got going on. So now you're less inclined to actually defend the stupid shit that they do and more inclined to just be upset and just want them gone. And it's like, I would rather you just fucking disappear because motherfucker, I'm tired. It ain't got shit to do with your race. And it's like, you just a dumb motherfucker. And the thing is that you've been experiencing that shit since you've been in school. Remember the motherfucker that wouldn't shut up because y'all had snack time and the teacher was like, y'all ain't gonna get no chocolate milk. And it's like, yo, Jeremy, shut the fuck up. It's like, there's a time and a place, nigga. Or they'd be like, you ain't gonna get no recess. And it's like, dude, Jeremy, shut up. It's like, nigga, you ain't fine. I don't care if you saw Pokemon yesterday, nigga, you shut up. And shit, dude, Jeremy. What race was Jeremy? You don't know. You don't know because I went to a mixed school. Now I've been to plenty mixed schools, but an ignorant motherfucker is still an ignorant motherfucker, and nobody likes to deal with an ignorant motherfucker. So it ain't got shit to do with black fatigue. I don't give a damn who coined the phrase. Whoever coined the phrase was an idiot. I'm just tired of ignorant motherfuckers.
Author to refer to the toll racism takes on black people.
Oh fuck no! What the hell does this have to do with Eric July, nigga? Another ad. No, let's get away from the ad real quick. Okay, let's have a little powwow. You see, I can't help but feel bad for this guy because of the fact to where it's like, okay, let's go back to this video. Because of the fact that where it's like, okay, you're going into so much detail as to why you said a word in order to justify that. Before, like, your video is about exposing the grift. Eric July doesn't understand tokenism. You have yet to give anything as to how Eric July doesn't understand tokenism because all the nigga said was that he's expressed and talked about tokenism on multiple videos. And that was it. That was it. We have yet to speak on the goddamn manga yet. Nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you? See this right here? This black fatigue. I'm tired of this nigga. I'm only saying this because I know what upset him. And that's funny. But this dumb nigga is just being a dumb nigga. So now we're going to get into who obviously is going to be a racist author talking about some black shit that don't fucking matter. Because at the end of the day, if you want racism to be gone, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen because no matter what, someone will always not like you for some reason. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. But if you want this shit to stop, you want this shit to just end, or you want to see less of it, nigga, quit bringing it up. Quit trying to harp and tell that there should only be a black way of doing things, or black people need to do this, or black people need to do that. White people can't do this, white people can't do that. Motherfucker, no. You're human. Do whatever the fuck you want. As long as you ain't hurting nobody, you're fine. But as soon as you make it to where it's about race, and only about race, nigga, you the racist. Don't you understand that? How do you not get that? You just want black people to do something, only black people, only with black people or for black people? That's racism. That's literally the opposite of what that's what segregation was, you dumb fuck. Why the fuck would you think that your great grandfathers and great grandmothers fought for that shit to go away if they didn't know that it was inherently wrong to be separated on that level? And then your dumb ass is trying to run around and do the exact same fucking thing that they fought to get rid of in the first place. Bitch, you's a dumb racist. How you working with the enemy? How do you not understand that you work with the enemy? The enemy wants you gone and separated from everybody else. And you do too. Nigga, and then it's like, this motherfucker got, I don't even give a fuck what she gotta say. What the hell does this gotta do with Air July? This nigga is stupid.
Winters. I am the author of Black Fatigue. how
Oh,
racism erodes the mind, body, and spirit. Over the last few days, I have seen quite a bit of chatter
nigga,
online in social.
nigga, what the fuck? Why are we
Surprise,
listening to this
surprise.
bitch?
That
Why
to
are we
say
listening
that
to this bitch? What justifies her being able to say
Yes,
anything
yes.
about
But
back fatigue and like just because she wrote a fucking book that means she's an expert and what the fuck it is that black people are going through? This is a mulatto bitch. I'm pretty sure her parents had money and they loved the fuck out of her. I'm pretty sure she grew up in a stable home. I'm pretty sure she didn't have to deal with half of the shit I dealt with growing up. I would understand why I would be upset at hearing her talk about some goofy shit like this. Nick, shit like this is annoying. This is so annoying because it's like, again, I don't even care about trying to justify who said what or how they said or what it is that they could do or can't do. Nigga, what I'm here for is to see you talk about and discuss Eric the fucking July and what he didn't understand about tokenism. But now you got butthurt in the last video talking about this nigga, and you just want to clarify, I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist. You better take it back. You better take it back. This bitch wrote a book. Gay as hell. It's so stupid.
I know that it's not black fatigue.
I said all that to say that the term house nigga or house negro is,
Mm-hmm.
surprise, surprise, a black American English term that refers to a very specific type of behavior from certain black people.
So,
Specifically, it refers
what the
to
fuck?
black white
He's
supremacists
still
and
bringing
is
it
a
up.
term rooted in the days of
Okay,
slavery.
okay. Yes, house nigga. You would call a nigga that was inside the house nigga. That's it. And essentially, the house nigga was the nigga that liked being around Massa. They loved Massa. They had to be with Massa. You know why? Because Massa provided with them a fucking house. And it was so much better to be a house nigga than it was to be a field nigga. Because a field nigga had to work, house nigga just had to live. So, yeah, it's okay. Malcolm X talked about it a lot. Malcolm X talked about it a whole lot because there ain't nothing worse than seeing a black person that wants to adhere and cater to white people, especially if they think that it makes their life better. Not that it makes a black person life better, but if their life is comfortable making white people lives better, that's a house nigga. That's it. That's a house nigga. So if you call Eric July that, whoop-de fucking do. I'm calling you a house nigga because what you are is the nigga that is trying your damnedest to ruin the other niggas, and that's something a house nigga would do. If the niggas in the field figured out a way that they can work in the field and sleep properly and eat some good food because they ain't got no choice but to be here, you the nigga that would look out the window and go, damn, Matt, look at what they doing. Look at what they doing. How dare they eat that food? They can't be eating that food if I can't eat that food. I guarantee. This motherfucker.
Ass off that neck down here in the mud so fast, make your head. Steven.
That nigga doing on that man.
This nigga here? That nigga there.
People like Eric July uphold white supremacist talking points and do the bidding of white supremacists by denigrating other black people, essentially doing their job for them. Eric has befriended an obvious racist piece of garbage in Ass from Heel versus Babyface.
Shit. I'm sorry. I hit my mic. I'm sorry. I hit my mic. I hit my mic to do the whole eye scrunch thing where you get frustrated and the points in your eyes hurt, so you grab the little beat of your nose and it's like ugh. And you just want to call a bitch. Like this nigga right here is a bitch. Okay. As is a white supremacist or a known racist. I have only heard Ass from Heels versus Babyface, or Heels versus Babyface. I just call him Heels versus Babyface. I have only heard him talk about nerd shit the entire time I have ever seen him when I found out about him on YouTube. I have only heard him talk about nerd shit. Only. The motherfucker went off on a goddamn rant about Starfield that was completely justified, and it was beautiful. And it was crazy to me that even someone that is a fucking friend of his, or someone that knows As, Rags from the EFAP community, actually stated that he thought that conversation was cringe. I hate using that word, but he thought that rant was cringe. And it's, to me, I always felt that that was something that was like, I was taken back from Rags because of the fact that I understood Heels versus Babyface was a prominent gamer, far more so than Rags is to me. Yes, Rags is someone I associate more so with movie shit. So, and upon hearing him say that, I was like, oh, well, you don't get it. And it immediately washed over me like that. And it was just that you don't get it. And it's like, it's not where your passion lies. And that's something I had to contend with a lot of my friends, where it's like, I understand that you would be upset or you would disagree with me on a lot of the things that I state and how I take in, and how I take a lot of my actions and things that I talk about. Hell, let's see that in my community and people who leave comments on shit that I talk about and whatnot. But realistically, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you don't get it. And it's not really anything that I could really lay down into words that would make you understand what it is that's going on. But it's not your cup of tea. It's not something that you would ever be as interested in as I am, to where you would understand exactly how justified I am in my passion or what I'm saying about this. I say all of that to the point where I would go, what the fuck makes Heels versus Babyface racist? Let alone the fact that if Eric July wants to do a podcast with him, what the fuck does that matter? And it's like, you're stating that he's a racist piece of shit. Based on what? Like, justify this shit, nigga. Like, you just saying it, don't just make that shit true. Just like the bitch who book you wanted to showcase, Black Fatigue. Just because you say some shit don't mean that that's what's happening. It just means your goofy ass just keeps repeating the same dumbass thing over and over and over again. And now guess what? White people now say Black Fatigue. And it's the stupidest fucking thing ever. But white people also used to say in the hizzy. So that's how I look at it. Just like, hey, we gonna move on. It's gonna change soon. Just ignorant motherfuckers being ignorant motherfuckers on both fucking sides. So you don't like the company that he keeps. Again, I have to go back to what this fucking video is. Doesn't understand tokenism. If you are exposing a grift, then the whole concept would be that you are trying to prove that he is actually a token that does not like token. But he's not a token, because when he partners up and talks with all these other people, these niggas are just talking about shit. And so then his community and his repertoire of shit and things like that is built off of what he's talking about. Hell, a majority of people who watched his content back when it blew up or before he released his comic books, even he states, you started watching me because he started talking about the pandemic shit, which is ironically how I found out about the guy. I saw him through the pandemic shit first. Then I found out the motherfucker like comics. And I was like, oh, surprise, surprise. So it's weird. It's very weird that you're sitting here and you're just basically just chastising him for nothing. Like, again, motherfucker ain't even spoke past a minute in his video. His video is only 4 minutes long. So he ain't even went past a minute in his video. And all you've managed to do is bitch, whine, and moan and tell people that you're not a racist, but he's a racist. Not with any proof or evidence, mind you, but just because you said it, which is the bitchiest thing like anyone could do. So, Tom, for the love of fucking God, get to the goddamn point. 30 minutes of this shit is stupid. I'm not even halfway there, and all you've managed to do is just sit there and you're expressing and talking about Eric July's achievements. Like, get off his dick. Get to the point. The fuck? My God.
Runs a podcast with him and hired him to write for his comic book company.
So?
Coupled with the nonsense Eric has said about black people and black characters.
Eric July also hired Chuck Dixon, and he's pranced him around more than anybody else. And even I don't care about the fact that he has Chuck Dixon. But at the same time, I recognize if you was to sit there and tell me I'm running a comic book company and I have Chuck Dixon writing for my comic book company, I'm going to be impressed after I ask, who the fuck is Chuck Dixon? And so then when you tell me who Chuck Dixon is, I'm going to go, oh shit, you for real about your goddamn comic book company, because it's Chuck Dixon, the guy who made Bane for Batman, nigga. So he gave as a writing job at his comic book company. And Adam Sandler friends are producers and writers for his movies. Is that a problem? He be working with Chris Rock a lot. You know, is he a token? I mean, they were friends on Saturday Night Live, and after everybody got fired from Saturday Night Live, they decided to just do their own thing and make movies and shit like that. Keep in contact with a lot of the movie stars that they met while they were on Saturday Night Live, and then Adam Sandler was able to create a fucking dynasty out of it. And then basically, as long as these people are friends of his, they never go hungry again a day in their life. Are they token? Like, is that a token ass thing? Is that? How come you ain't talking about that? Or is it just those are people that Chris Rock just happened to meet? Who's that guy who do that fucking the ladies man, that black dude, because he know them as well. And it's like, are they just guys who all knew each other because they're in the same field of media and they're like-minded individuals? And then they was like, I respect and understand your quality of content and how you go in depth into shit that you talk about and the things that you're interested in. Let's work together so we can make this money. And then they go do that. How was that grifting? How was that racist? How was that not anything that you've ever seen before within the field of entertainment? Dumb people have no place talking about successful people. Because they're fucking stupid. They don't get it. They don't get it. See, I would say get to the point, but again, I'm deconstructing his shit, so you have to bear with me on my end. Like, I gotta go through this shit so he could get to the point. Oh man.
In fiction, this is why I call him what I called him. House Negroes are a
You're still
barrier
stuck
to
on house
equality
nigga.
for Black
Nigga,
Americans,
what the fuck?
something we have literally been dealing with since slavery, and it's important for us to identify these people so that those who are unaware don't fall for this form of grift. So, if it isn't clear, a black man calling a dancer, or
Jesus
that's
Christ.
not what racism.
Bitch, you still on this? Are you? What type
This
of?
Black American man.
This motherfucker is gay. That's the only thing I could say is that this nigga gay. That's all it is. It is not racism for me to call him a house nigga. Yes, it is, nigga. It is. It is. Who fucking cares? It is or it isn't. Whether or not if you don't believe that what you're saying is racist and you said it, then guess what? It's not racist. If someone thinks that what you said is racist and they took offense to it, guess what? It's racist. Is there anything that you can say or do to change that feeling that someone could have about being offended by anything? No, you fucking can't. So get over it, because you're not in control of that person. You're in control of only one person, yourself. So if you are able to adhere to the fact that you don't believe calling this nigga a house nigga is racist, then it is okay, you house nigga, to call that nigga a house nigga. When even though I know you're a house nigga and you a racist house nigga and a dumb house nigga, then it's fine for me to say that because this is how I feel. And I am in control of myself. And even though I say these things to you, you might not feel that way, or you might not even hear me say these things. And that is fine, because I don't care what the fuck you think about how I feel about you. Oh my goodness, but you are so hell-bent on driving home that you feel justified in saying whatever the fuck you want to say to him, but at the same time, nobody can say anything to you? Oh, that's a different tier. That's gay. Some gay ass shit.
Is being told that he's off code. And if you don't,
I'm gonna keep fast forwarding because like this shit is dumb. Oh my goodness. Oh my fucking goodness. Okay. So again, now we're back into another fucking ad break. I just find it like hard to actually give a fuck about this guy's like talking points, because it's like when you see someone this disingenuous and crazy towards just things that don't really fucking matter, towards the subject matter or topic at hand, you can't help but think that like there's something wrong with you, right? There's like you can't get everything on the level because you're not on the level. And I have a weird fixation with this, because it's like, dude, like now I'm 12 minutes in. 12 minutes into a 30-minute video, and you spent a majority of it trying to justify you not being a racist when you are. And it's like it's bitch work. And it's like, why the fuck would you even do that? Why would you feel the need to actually go that in depth with some shit that don't fucking matter if you're just trying to convey your thoughts on something? I get if you spamming this shit so you can do the YouTube ad runtime or whatnot or anything like that. But it's like, no, this motherfucker is passionate about this shit. This motherfucker care about this shit. Yeah, I'll dislike the video. Fuck out of here. But it's like, this motherfucker care about this shit. And it's weird. It's so fucking weird. It's odd. I have problems with this shit. It's like, why am I making a video about this then, Danny? Because I find this funny. This is what I do. Let's keep going though, because again, he didn't even talk about the damn thing.
Came from Viz Media. There's been a lot of conversations being had here, and I
do apologize if the audio is peaking a lot. I do apologize that I've had some recent problems with the audio, and I'm hearing it through my headphones. So I don't know how the final video is going to turn out, but it is peaking quite a bit, and I do apologize.
Let's just get right into it. If you guys can see it here, you'll see that Viz made an announcement on October 17th. It says, being mixed race in Japan, like Kazubi, means facing daily trials of racism, microaggressions, and otherness. This is a journey of resilience, hope, and the search for coexistence. Half is More, Volume 1 by Yoiko Fujimi. Now, there's been this response that I'm looking at right now. There's someone that quotes and says, stop blackwashing characters, make your own characters, saying basically others.
Why did he let Eric July do this? And then he go into his tirade.
Their own characters.
Like, isn't that crazy? Like, he's actually going to play Eric July going over the thing that he showcased earlier. And if he was genuinely going to do that, why didn't he just let Eric July get to this part and then talk about this stuff and then go into your tirade? Why preemptively do stupid shit like that? That's unnecessary, because this is unnecessary. Hearing him read some shit we already read and whatnot. Fuck. Let's skip ahead a little bit.
Completely misrepresents what people have been saying about.
Fuck. Let me go back a little bit.
Unfortunately, completely misrepresents what people have been saying about this subject matter, and it totally misses the point here.
This is one of the most disingenuous framings of this issue.
Oh, nigga, you was the last motherfucker to talk about disingenuous shit. You cannot talk about disingenuous shit. You've been doing nothing but disingenuous shit since I started this fucking video. You just been like, get out of here. Get out of here. This nigga is stupid.
And I see this all the time. A black character is introduced in a piece of media. Racists predictably go apeshit. People call out the blatant racism. And then people like Eric say that they're being misrepresented or that people are missing the point. No, they're not. They're calling out the racism. If you feel called out by someone calling out racism, then that's a you problem, and you should probably reflect on why that is. I mean, when women speak out on sexual assault, I don't get angry about the topic, and that's probably because I have never sexually assaulted anyone. Besides, it is you.
What? See? Disingenuous. You see how stupid that was? It's like everything he just said was so fucking stupid. It's cynical how stupid it was. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, so going by the quote tweet where the guy was saying that, you know, y'all niggas wanted something original, now that you got it, you niggas still being niggas, blah, blah, blah. Skibbity pap and tap, scap and that whap. And then Eric July essentially stating that, like, you're missing the point. Let him get to the point before you start clamoring on with some goofy shit. And again, Eric July just saying that you missed the point is not the equivalent of him losing his fucking mind and being like, oh no, like you're not calling me out, like they called me out for racism. It's like, no, that's not what the fuck the thing is. It's like he said you're missing the point. You haven't let him get to the point because you went on your tirade because you're gay. You can't help yourself. I understand. Because I'm not gay. I had to clear that up before the thing started playing.
You, Eric, that is missing the point, which is black characters get shit on no matter what. If they are original characters,
No, they do not. No dogs allowed. Nigga, black characters do not get shit on no matter what. Terrible characters get shit on no matter what. It doesn't fucking matter that they're black. You ain't gonna sit here and show the bitch from the Acolyte when they know Star Wars is all fucked up, and a bitch from The Boys that's completely political and fucked up, and gonna sit here and try to summarize as if, oh no, all black characters I look bad upon. Nigga, nobody likes this shit because they're a part of the shit that nobody likes. It ain't got nothing to do with them being black. They're not enjoyable characters. What's her name? I don't fucking know. What's her name? I don't watch Gen V because it's stupid. Because The Boys became stupid. The creator of the showrunner of The Boys wanted to say that he's making it as political as he possibly can. They're probably only going to get one season now. Like, they only got one season left, probably. Who cares? This shit ain't got nothing to do with them being black. These are terribly written characters. So nobody wants to enjoy them. So nobody likes watching them. So it's okay when people say it's shit. These are original characters. They're not tokenized characters. These are original characters. Star Wars is filled with a bunch of races, like different races, creeds and codes and colors and whatnot. In Gen V, this is an original character. But again, no one's watching this shit. It's not making the impact that The Boys have. It's not being memed about or anything like that. And it's like you only have a select few of people who got Amazon Prime memberships who even give a fuck to see it. But this is the fucking Acolyte from Star Wars. And it has met with negative response because ever since it was first introduced, nobody gave a damn. And it's not as if anyone can say anything bad about actors or actresses and whatnot, because the bitch who was on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, or her, I can't remember, they're on other shit. And people don't sit there and look at them and go, there goes the bitch that ruined Star Wars. They just, hey, do your job as an actor and we'll be good. You just happen to play a role in something that is basically shit, and people don't like it. And you can either run from it or put it in the past and move the fuck on with your life, because that's what everyone else seems to do. And then you look at the bitch who played She-Hulk. She can't let it go. But it's like, your show was terrible, and so no one liked it. She's not black. That show failed miserably. They canceled the second season. Hell, they even got rid of everything that they added in that show to be introduced within the MCU, because Daredevil didn't fuck her now, and who knows what else they're going to do with Hulk and his son or whatever. But she wasn't black, so what does that mean? Where's her picture? Why is she up here? That was a show that did terrible. Hell, that was one of the bigger shows that did terrible. What about Gadriel? Gadriel's an original character from Lord of the Rings, and her show came out. It was terrible. She was the main fucking character. Oh, you ain't gonna talk about that? Talk about the fact that that's a white character, that's a female that actually exists within that. She's not whitewashed. I mean, she's not whitewashed. She wasn't tokenized. That's an actual character. But they made her a Mary Sue, and nobody liked it. But because Amazon put in over $1 billion fucking dollars, actually $7 billion fucking dollars, and it's the most expensive TV show ever made. It says they put in $7 billion into that fucking show. They kept making more of the show, but nobody's watching it. The ratings keep showing that nobody's watching it. People don't like that show. Yet, why isn't their picture up here? What is it about them and these two motherfuckers that's different? Unless with your cherry picking ass, you decided to bring up some shit that you know has a negative aspect around of it, and you just completely fucking is forgetting the context that is held around these fucking characters as to why no one fucking likes them. Nigga, this shit is bad that they're a part of. These are not two black characters that are hated despite being on really good, excellent TV shows. No, we got that. We got that on House of the Dragon. Remember that shit? This shit all coming to the head right off the top of my fucking dome. You wrote this shit in the script. I know your bitch ass did. Motherfucker, we actually had a controversy where they did not want these black people to play known white people in a story that's written in a book from House of the Dragon. And this would be a perfect example of essentially what the fuck they could have did with Nick Fury if they were smart, but they didn't, where they only were written as white. with white hair. There were no visual representations of these characters, and someone decided to make them black. Why? Because ain't no black people in Game of Thrones, especially in one that's in the earlier days of Game of Thrones, like before they could add any chocolate people. So what are you gonna fucking do? Even though they were essentially Valerian. So the concept of them having white hair and dealing with the Targaryens is a big fucking deal. It would actually matter in showcasing their children and shit like that. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna fucking do? They made everybody black, and these motherfuckers could act. And they not only could they act, they did well upon acting. And then no one gave a damn anymore. It was something to understand that yes, it was done under the guise of tokenization. It was a negative thing that was being implemented because they knew what the fuck it was being done for. Like why they were doing it, we understood why they were doing it, but the actual execution behind it was that you got people who could act to play these characters that were supposed to be white, and everyone got over it. Which should be the goal, because that's what the fuck you would want to do. Yes, you would have people still calling out for it, because why would anyone want something to be authentic? It's something I put my heart and soul into in terms of carrying on the fandom, and it's not giving me what it is that I've looked forward to all this time in a different media. But again, you are met with that same issue that these actors and actresses would be met with. You can either get over this shit or let it affect you and it ruin whatever possibility you can have of enjoying something in the future. So now the bitch who plays She-Hulk ain't gonna be in the MCU no more. Talk about getting rid of a good fucking check because of stupid shit. And now these niggas are able to move on and do bigger and better things, because guess what? Who the fuck cares if a bunch of Star Wars people don't like me in the store and Star Wars thing? You're still working in Hollywood. You still got your check. Move the fuck on. Prove that you're an actor first before anything else. The fandom is the fandom, but that ain't got shit to do with anything. Fuck, you can still go to a goddamn Star Wars convention and motherfuckers gonna pay you money to sign their signature on some shit, because that's just how that fandom works, and it is okay. So, with your bitch ass looking at this shit and not understanding any fucking thing, or even being able to piece this shit together because you want to cherry pick so fucking bad, this is what you get. You get me calling this shit out on how stupid you sound, on exactly how dumb it is for you to even be saying this shit, because it doesn't make sense. You've seen all of this shit that I'm talking about. I know you probably watch Game of Thrones. I know you heard about the controversy of people talking about the Valerians being white, because your bitch ass would obviously jump on that as quickly as you can, because that's what a fucking grifter would do. See, I'm saying these buzzwords because I know they'll hurt them. I know it'll hurt them. But nigga, you've got to get off this fucking high horse if you want anyone to sit there and take what the fuck you gotta say seriously. Because this is fucking stupid. It's like, look at what they did. Look at what they didn't do to these specific things. What about the grand total? Like, look at the whole. Like, what do you have in opposition to this to showcase that even the power of canceling black people in medium or not liking any original black characters, regardless if they're tokenized or not, would actually be the offset to that? So it's like, essentially, what is it that you have to prove this? Like, oh no, that happens majority. And it's like, even the minority isn't even that talked about. This was a small incidence of that happening. But it's like, every time it normally happens, this is what mainly happened. Can't do that. You know why? Because you cherry picking. Your dumb ass cherry picking on a fucking apple tree, and that's stupid. This nigga dumb.
People on your side call them woke or token. If they are legacy characters, people on your side refuse to call them by their mantle or say that the original characters are being erased. There is no way for black characters to win. That's the point.
How is there no rates for black characters to win? How? Again, we have predominantly very popular black characters that exist in the media. And again, even in the sense of going towards the Nick Fury argument, which you stated earlier, I wouldn't argue against Samuel Jackson playing Nick Fury. Well, it was like, yeah, as much as I know of Nick Fury was never a prominent character for me to give a fuck about within Marvel. I'm a Spider-Man fan, so I don't care about anybody else. So then it's like, upon introducing Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury, whatever. It didn't hit me as it hit other people because I didn't grow up with Nick Fury comics. I didn't grow up with Nick Fury toys, knowing exactly what he looked like and what it is that he's supposed to be about. So then finding out about him being actually white and then they replace him with a black man, I recognize that that's tokenism. I understand that that's tokenism because I know Disney gonna do some Disney shit, and that's exactly what they fucking did. I understand all of that, but I can move past it. Samuel Jackson, a fantastic actor. So him acting his ass off as Nick Fury and it actually being well is good. And every time he's been Nick Fury has been fine. But the Secret Invasion show was a crock of shit. So does that mean that him being Nick Fury was a bad investment if that was going to lead into that series being bad? Or can I just point out the fact that maybe Marvel doesn't know what the fuck it's doing when it comes to writing in particular stance? And it's like, well, when it's particular standpoints within the MCU as a whole. There are some movies that are really good, some movies that are really shit, some movies that shouldn't exist, some movies that they themselves want to forget. But that doesn't mean that Samuel Jackson is a bad actor. Nor does that mean that Nick Fury has taken any type of hate from his acting within fucking what the hell's the name of the MCU. So it's retarded for you to sit there and just be under the mindset, because it's what a racist would do, is that you think that no matter what, black people can't get ahead. When we have instances of black people getting ahead, you're literally talking about a nigga who made $1 million comic book company, which should have been impossible at this day and age, especially after fucking the pandemic, who made $1 million comic book company that ain't got shit to do with the big two, and his main characters are black. The predominant characters that he have are black. Nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you? how do you fuck up this bad in an argument where you completely just disregard every fucking thing in order to try and make yourself feel that you're right? This shit don't make any sense. You couldn't be more wrong. And it's like, again, the perfect example of what the fuck is wrong with you is what you're arguing against. Eric July's a racist. He makes black comic book characters. Dude, he's looking at working with these white supremacists. He got them the right for his comic book company, which is making millions. Well, he's such a racist. A lot of his main characters are black. So once the years stand and they grow and it grows and his characters become household names, if it gets that far, which we'll pray for that success because that'd be a cool fucking thing to see. How could you deny that he made a popular black character that didn't need the help or didn't need the shoulders of a white man to grow from? Because he completely owns his company and he created his characters. So it's all him. And it's like, that's so forward as far as what it is that you would aspire to from a black creator. I mean, look at what the fuck happened to that Black Sands nigga. Like, he keeps fucking cheating everybody out of everything. That nigga's a grifter. But it's like, oh no, you want to talk about the successful actually doing right by black people and black culture. Fuck, Eric July even talked about the fact that one of the reasons his character is named the way it is named is because it's deeply rooted within African roots. Like, what the fuck? Like, how much further do you need to look before you actually understand that you're in the wrong here, dude? That you've lost the fucking plot. And you got your head so far up your own ass thinking that everything and anything these people say is bad that you're just immediately ready to pounce on it. Like it doesn't matter. It's just you gotta pounce on it only because they're the big bad wolf. Like, they could be minding their own business, but to you they're the big bad wolf and they need to be stopped. I'm reminded of the boyfriend in the movie You Got Mail, of the main female that gets with Tom Hanks there at the end. Her boyfriend, he was someone that essentially was always going up against big business and then doing shit on a like tear down of technology and the advancement type of ways. So he would write columns and shit like that, but he would actually type on a typewriter. And even she thought that was like excessive. But to him, it was like, no, I'm going against computers and whatnot. And it's like, despite what it does and what it could do for his, for him writing, as well as like being able to, pushing like his career and shit like that, it didn't matter. It was just about the fight against big business and big companies and shit like that. And even she understood that that in itself was just basically losing ground because he didn't genuinely care about what she cared about. She was trying to save her bookstore. Sorry for going off on this tangent, but I just need to express this. But she was trying to save her bookstore and whatnot, and he was going up against the business that was basically putting it out of business. And he was like, oh, big business down with business. And then as soon as it became another topic of discussion of going up against in terms of big business and whatnot. He immediately went to that while she was still struggling with trying to keep her store open and what it meant to her. And with him, it was like, well, this is over and done with. I'm now focused on this. And it's like with her, it's like, this is my livelihood. This is a family thing. And it's like, I gotta shut my doors. You don't care about that? And he was like, like I gotta fight. I gotta keep fighting my fight because that's how the fights are fought. And it's like, I'm reminded of him because he was a terrible character. He's not a terrible character. He was a terrible person. He was a well-written character, but he was a terrible person. And essentially, you remind me a lot of him. Is that you're just doing this because you just want to be bitchy. You just want to be mad. There's no logic behind it. You're just doing this shit to be doing this shit. It's weird. It's very fucking weird. Because again, you have not gotten to the point yet, let alone have even had an argument to completely disregard what the fuck Eric July said. I have used my channel to make a video where I've defended people because of weird shit before. I think I did a video about you talking about Critical Drinker. I can't even remember, but it is like it's obvious to me that this shit is just completely dismissive and disingenuous when it's like you can see the writing on the wall that you have no fucking idea what the hell it is you're talking about. You're just crazy. You just want them to be all these things you say they are when they can't. It's like even the neurotic tweet of him saying Peter Parker is Spider-Man and Miles Morales is Miles Morales. There's further proof in that for when he said it and the fact that at that time, Marvel created the What If series that was just centered around Miles Morales becoming other superheroes. And the only thing that they could do was try to just black it up. So if he was Thor, they got graffiti on the Rainbow Bridge. If he was Captain America, he would be better than Sam Wilson ever was. He was the man. He was that guy. He's still wearing Nikes and shit because that's the only way they can convey this nigga to be a hero because he a nigga. Fuck, when the motherfucker got when the Miles Morales game got reviewed, everybody remember with all the swagger of a black teenager being said because that's how those niggas think. And you are the kind of nigga that would love to hear those people talk like that because that's what you like. Fucking Tom. It's Big Tom. I'm the back. Fuck, I don't even think Neurotic was the first one to even do the Miles Morales Spider-Man tweet. Wasn't it Yellow Flash who did that first? I don't think it was Neurotic that did that first. I think someone else did. And it was like, it got retweeted again later on, or someone else redid it again later on. And then it still blew up because it's like, yeah, you just got these people butthurt about this shit. But I digress.
It's not as nuanced as what some people may think. It's really simple if you want to get down to the nitty gritty of things. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There is the more blatant aspect of it all.
14
Obviously,
minutes.
folks take exception to seeing these tokenizations. But there's another thing that we talked about as well. When these original black characters are created, if they are not, let's say, based upon some other, again, classically non-black character, oftentimes you get the heavy reliance upon these tropes in which a core part of their storyline narrative is dealing with race, racism, some sort of thing
this is
in
true.
that nature, and it's boring. Let's be completely honest. It's overused. It's predictable.
This is clearly not true, as there is
that is very true. And I think like the hilariousness of this is the fact that he has the Black Doctor Who up here. And the Black Doctor Who actually has been Disney has pulled out of funding from the BBC for doing another season of Doctor Who because of how terrible this Doctor Who season has been. So much so that it's like, at the same standing as the female Doctor Who, which again was poorly written, terrible, and just overall terrible. Regardless of how much money the BBC is able to put into it. And again, it's things where it's like, as an American, you look into the shit and you don't understand the complexity of what they got going on in England and Britain and whatnot, because of the fact that the BBC is essentially their PBS. So taxpayer funds go into the BBC. It's not some shit that like they have any say in. So it's like they automatically pay for this shit. It's not as if this shit is ran by ratings. The shit is just ran, and that's in itself insane. But going off of what Eric July said, it is very true to where it's like you now have a litany of these characters that essentially try to be original black characters. And if it's not that they already fit within the mythos of something that doesn't need to explain their existence, then they themselves go about it like if they're more so slice of life things, or well, dealing with manga you have slice of life, but in dealing with like typical TV shows and whatnot, it's genuinely just like a regular story set in modern age. So when they do stuff within the modern age, it's more so centered always around race. If in itself it's not completely like irate and ignorant. Like let's say a lot of the fucking like 2B movies and shit like that, or Power, for instance. There is a huge fundamentally difference in terms of concept behind the show, the series Power, and what it is that that does in terms of showcasing and dictating and highlighting black people, and The Wire, which I would always argue is a much better and far more like just all around greater concept of a show. But I look at Power and I just essentially see ignorance at its finest in order to try and convey some type of street crime committee and shit like that or whatever. While as I would look at something like The Wire, which is just a fantastic crime drama TV show that highlights and focuses on different aspects of characters' lives in the streets of Baltimore, and just how terrible those like crossing world views and paths would be depending on the circumstances of what it is that's going on. So having the multiple seasons tackle multiple different issues and problems and things like that is what makes The Wire a great, fantastic show that honestly was just too fucking real for most people to even get invested in, or for most people to acknowledge, despite having so many people invested into it. It's too good. If there was any issue, it's too good. But again, with Power, and it's like you just got drugs, gangs, guns, and it's like, and it's only that commentary over and over and over again. Are you gonna continue the path that your dad did, selling drugs and being a gangster? Yes, because otherwise there'd be no show. It's like, what? I'm in jail, you in jail, and it's like, what exactly is the? And it's like, Power was never even put up in terms of being recognized as a show in contrast to The Wire. Power was always put next to Empire. How sad is that? Because it's like Empire did the exact same fucking thing. It's just they had singing. So Empire was just a black Glee. But just realized that. But it was something to where it was like, that was essentially them highlighting and showcasing what they would deem black culture as far as it would pertain to people who actually were able to be successful or had money as far as black culture would go. But then they was all mostly gangsters and whatnot, whatever. But there was something to say to where it was like in the general audience of people who actually indulge and look into this stuff. And it's like, well, how many people do you know actually are going around quoting or talking about how, wow, Power needed all these fucking Emmys and shit like that, or they need to respect on this, that, and the third, or whatever it is. Like, it, you don't get that. You don't. But it's like there's still conversations to this day for exactly how great and how well written The Wire was, and that just, it's just good. It's just so good. But essentially, it's like you have to understand is like it's odd that as far as it comes to people who finally get the idea or the message that they want to do something as far as creating an original black character, that they don't actually adhere to what it is that other characters that have come before them have done in order to actually just stay relevant, be known. And that is again, is to be entertaining. You are making something that genuinely is meant for entertainment. It is meant to make money. It's meant to be entertaining, and entertaining enough that someone just throws money at it. So if you don't do that, then you don't get that. And then that's where the problems lie. So as much as you might want to sit there and cry freedom for the fact that it's like, oh, I'm seeing an original black character. Yes, you're seeing an original black character, but do you care that that's like that about that character? Do you not that they're black? Do you care about that character? Do you care about the circumstance? Do you care about the situation that's about to unfold around this character? Because if you don't care, what the fuck are we doing? We're talking about nothing. But if you care, then all right, like explain to me, why do you care? What is it that makes this character special? So I agree with the notion that it's like, yeah, if it's boring, then it's deemed boring, and then people tend to shy away from it. And considering the fact about what it is that this manga is going to do, and I've looked up on more so about this manga and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, it's discussing a niche concept in a niche genre in a niche demographic. or a niche demographic in a niche genre. So again, it's like, yeah, that's very, very particular. And what exactly do you hope to accomplish with this? What is it that you want people to do, especially manga readers at that? Like, what is it that you think is going to happen? Because again, the majority of people who read manga, I would dare say, aren't half black, half Japanese. Let alone would there be a huge crowd of people who are half black and half Japanese that even give a fuck to read manga, because that's not really that big of a deal of a thing within Japan outside of the very popular manga. So this being something new that's handling and tackling a slice of life story, that's also tackling a racial concept within the story that deals and would essentially point a finger at Japanese society dealing with people of mixed race, you got yourself, this is a very uphill battle. And it wouldn't be crazy to sit there and think that, yeah, like you've started with on the losing front and trying in hopes of getting this manga to actually be successful, let alone to tell your story in a good way. But more power to you if you're able to do something. But at the same time, it's like, from an onlooker looking into this shit or finding out about it, it's like there's no reason I would actually want to read it. There's nothing about it that makes me want to read it. Why the fuck would I care to hear a perspective of a half black, half Japanese person about life in Japan when I don't live in Japan? I don't know what it's like to be half black and half Japanese, let alone that I want to see only the negative aspect of that. I'm looking into manga because I'm actually interested in Japanese media. So something that essentially would be pointing a finger at Japanese society and culture in a negative aspect probably won't sit well with a bunch of people who look towards Japanese culture in a positive aspect because it happens to be so different from Western culture. So again, not saying that these are all bad things, but I'm saying that these are negative things to take into account when focusing on this manga actually doing successful in the long run. And so it's just something where it's like, that has to make sense, because again, if it gets canceled, you can't pin it on the fact of where it's like, oh no, like people just didn't want to see anything with black people. And it's like, no, dude, not at all. And again, this is coming off the heels for where years ago we had an animator in an actual Japanese studio make an anime based off of a black character that actually had two black characters in it. Nobody watched it because the series seemed stupid. It seemed so stupid, and it was all over the place and boring, and nobody watched it. And then when it came and went and it was over with, and nobody gave a damn. And that's just how that happened. How many people even remember that shit? It's like something's canon or whatever. I can't even remember. It was so long ago. Damn, that was
a variety of black characters in media. You have characters like Sam Wilson in the MCU, who very rarely, if at all, speaks about race in stories that feature him. And yes, you have characters like Huey
Sam Wilson, who sat there and said, you got to do better. And then he was saying, you got to stop calling these terrorists, even though they killed people like terrorists. Yeah, that's Sam Wilson.
Freeman in the
who
also speaks about
also was not able to get a loan because of the fact that his family ain't got no money, because black, even though he's actually a superhero. And him being a superhero is like, oh, we don't get paid, we're just superheroes. But yeah, these are things I would contribute towards his race, or just things that are being brought up. Hell, the fact that in the fucking Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show, he got pulled over by the cops. And then when he got pulled over, and then like the cops just came out and they put guns on him. And they put guns on him. And then it was like, do you know who this man is? And the cop was like, oops. And he was like, you look like the rest of them. That happened in that show. This show that you're showing with this ugly ass suit. And it's like, that happened in that show. So, well, no, it wasn't this suit. I think it was, I don't think it was this suit. But that happened in that show. And was that not a giant nod or a finger point towards race, or just some type of racial inequality going on, and something that Sam Wilson would have to deal with? Did that not happen? Because that happened. We also dealt with a black Captain America who didn't want to actually come into the forefront. Not black Captain America, but a black super soldier who essentially would have existed pre Captain America, who essentially didn't want to get into the forefront because he's been locked away for a majority of his life, and he just kind of he's like shell shock, trauma. It's like whatever. That happened though. That happened. It was very much indicative of the racial aspect, but it happened. And so it's like, yeah, you might not think that they rarely say anything about his race, but they have. They genuinely have. They've done shit about his race that stuck out in a major way, and it developed and shaped his character. Did it need to happen? No. Did it have to happen? No. Did they do it? Yep. And that's the problem. They did it. They didn't have to, but they did. He didn't have to have the shield, but he does. He didn't have to become Captain America, but he does. Even when you refer to him, you have to say Sam Wilson. Is he the Falcon or is he Captain America? Doesn't fucking matter. Because the only thing that matters is that symbolism and that you buy some shit that no one is willing to buy. Stupid.
Race and stories that feature him. And yes, you have characters like Huey Freeman in the Boondocks, where racism does play a part in his stories. The problem is, as I said before.
So then, what is the point of bringing up Huey then? Yeah, I already proved that Sam Wilson talks about race, especially within the MCU. And then Huey is a black revolutionary, so that's the point of his character. Like he does that. But you understand exactly what it is that, again, you're proving the point of Eric July. Why is it that Boondocks is beloved? Boondocks is actually good. It's funny. It's a wonderful, wonderful commentary on society, especially from the avenues of being black and whatnot. The fourth season is a crock of shit because they didn't have Aaron McGregor dealing with anything, or Aaron McGruder. I don't know how to say his name correctly, but it's a crock of shit, and you can tell that as it went from being this social commentary to being a satirical version of itself that was poorly written and just horrible. Hell, so much so that they even lightened the tone of the skin color of Huey, Riley, and Granddad, which is just fucking disgusting and outrageous. But that's what they did. That is what they did. And so you go from seeing someone who created some shit, made some shit, and had the characters be exactly the way that he wanted and needed them to be, who was black, who then basically had a studio ran by white people and whatnot, making decisions on what it is that they wanted the show to do and be, and then they essentially got it canceled because it sucked. First thing they did when they introduced the fourth season of Boondocks is that they made these niggas indentured slaves. Why? To be a satirical look on just what that would mean if it like common day slavery. Did that make any sense in terms of Boondocks? Fuck no. Did it make any sense in terms of the characters? Absolutely not. The immediate fucking commentary on these guys being essentially black people who live in a nice neighborhood that can afford a nice house and dealing with the crazy shit that they would deal with by being in that community, in that world, in that economic bracket, if you will, was completely stripped away by making it to where Granddad now used to work odd jobs to keep up payments, and that they weren't able to keep anything from the house. When it was already stated earlier within Boondocks is that the inheritance money that went to Riley and Huey was spent on the house because Granddad is that kind of nigga. He took that money and bought a house in their name. completely stripped away when it came towards a committee of people actually trying to figure out what to do with these characters, and they ruined it. Because that's what the fuck they did. Because that's what Sam Wilson was. He was a character that was designed by a committee to be a particular way. I'm not saying that Sam Wilson was created by a committee, but I'm saying is that what they did with Sam Wilson came from a committee's dispute of going, what should we do with this character? Should we just leave him alone and have him go on his own adventures as the original character that he is? Or is he only special if he's Captain America? Because that's the only way we would deem him special, is if he was Captain America. That sounds like a plan, little man. So let's do it. Let's make this nigga Captain America. Because otherwise, why would I want to see him? Get him off my screen. It's too much black.
And what Night Mode season was saying, you people.
Well, Night Mode is racist.
The problem is, as I said before, and what Night Mode season was saying, you people complain about these characters no matter what. The Acolyte, a Star Wars television show, was completely shit on by racists, and that show had literally.
No, it wasn't. That show was shit on because it was a bad show. This show has actively terrible writing in it. It has poor dialogue execution, and it has a horrible concept in connecting itself towards the actual Star Wars lore. There is no argument against that because it actively shows that within the show. People who would be interested in it would have to be people who are interested in Star Wars. It wouldn't just be people who coming off the streets that would think, ooh, Acolyte. The fuck is that? That obviously is something that's worth my time and effort. No, this is something that would have been catered to Star Wars people. And then much like with anything else catered to Star Wars people, it would grow through word of mouth on whether it was good or bad. But we've seen systematically through Disney, a committee of motherfuckers who don't get motherfuckers, they decided to make this show and they did everything in their power to do whatever they could to alienate their audience. So then they stacked the deck against themselves, and then when they played the game, they sat there and questioned what the fuck happened, because they're that stupid. And for you to sit there and say this is completely disingenuous because you're disregarding everything that was fucking wrong with this show. This show was not bad or it didn't do well because of fucking racists. There's no, every character in this show was original. Every single character in this show is original. It's bad because it's bad. It was no, like, if you have people who are saying anything about race, guess what? You're going to always have some people say something about race. You're going to always have some people say stuff about sexual orientation. I'm pretty sure a lot of motherfuckers complain that this nigga is Asian, but it doesn't matter. He's an original character. Him being Asian makes sense, but the show was bad. It's just bad. There's nothing more complex. There's no other complexity behind it. It didn't do bad because of races. It did bad because it was a bad show. If it actually was a good and well-received show, it would have overcame whatever negative connotation that would have been made by the small subdivision of people who would scream out shit like racism. Like, it's racist. It's racist. Look how this is. Look at that black. Look at that black. Look at that Asian. Look at that black. That would have been nothing. That would have been a fart in the wind compared to people actually being like, yo, this is actually a really good show. No, but that's not what you want to talk about, because if you did that, you wouldn't be disingenuous, because you a disingenuous fuck. You fuck. Man, Tom is tripping.
Nothing to do with race at all, but because it featured a black protagonist, racists had a field day, and when they were called out, they fell back on obvious lies like, well, the writing was bad, and that's why I disliked it. Now, the writing could have possibly been bad.
What do you mean it could have possibly been bad? No. What do you mean it could have possibly? Like, if you are essentially quoting, what the fuck? Don't tell me that you are essentially quoting some shit without actually knowing about some shit. There are plenty of examples of exactly how terrible the writing of Acolyte is. There are plenty of examples of showcasing exactly how bad and wooden and stiff the acting of this show was. They had characters that they could have did a litany of things with, and they just either got rid of them, killed them, or had no idea where the fuck to place them or put them. No one cried about the black actor being a black actor. People got upset about the black actor going on a tirade attacking the fans because she thought they were attacking her for being a black actor. People didn't like her character, and then they didn't like the actress that was playing the character. That's what happens when you's a bitch, and she's a bitch. So then they called her out for being a bitch, and she did what a bitch would do, bark as loud as you possibly fucking could. You should know you're doing it right now. So to sit there and be disingenuous, because that's what the fuck you're doing, by going, the acting possibly could have been bad. The acting was bad. Because if it was anything good or anything worth a damn, you probably would have heard about it. You probably would have been talking about it or saying that that would have been a negative thing for anyone to bring up because it did have good acting. You wouldn't have talked about how bad the CGI was, how much it got rid of the actual Star Wars lore, some shit that's known to upset Star Wars fans on a fundamental fucking level. Like you, as someone who was essentially a nerd, and a dumb fucking nerd at that, would basically just disregard all of that shit in order to cherry pick that, yeah, no, they, this show was bogged down because of racism. That's fucking stupid. That's the last thing I would think of as to why this show would have had an issue. It's like Disney Star Wars, the thing that nobody likes right now. Disney Star Wars that made a show that they knew was being ran onto the ground by the dumb fucking decisions that they had from up top. Disney Star Wars, where this show was fun, was basically the showrunner was. I always laugh whenever I say this, was fucking Harvey Weinstein's assistant who decided to put her wife in one of the major roles in the series. And then they went on a fucking press tour to talk about how female focused this show was going to be without any regard or any care towards actual Star Wars lore because everyone talked about how misogynistic Star Wars is. Star Wars is a story about a father and a son. George Lucas said that out of his own fucking mouth when he was done with the series. He was like, this is about a father and a son redemption story. That's it. That's it. And so to sit there and look at that and go, it's misogynistic. Bitch, you ain't a son and you ain't a father. It ain't for you. But you're stupid. So you don't know. Like this nigga.
That's not why those people were saying that. As I said in the...
But those people would have been a majority towards the overall dissatisfaction with the show. It was a Disney Plus show. It was a show that only a few people even then would watch or look at, depending on if they had Disney Plus or not, or whether they were a Star Wars fan. Those people saying racist shit don't fucking matter. I'm pretty sure you look at the bottom of the barrel of any show, TV, or whatever, and you're going to get some racist shit. It doesn't matter. Terrible people do terrible things, but that does not mean that they are the defiant of, or like that's the common of what it is that comes out from every fucking body. Nigga, this is the same thing as that Family Guy joke when it was like, oh, 8 people called in about the Emmys, meaning that 8 million people were offended, so we gotta do something. If 8 people called in, that means that 8 million people, like that's that dumbass mentality that comes from shit like that, because that's what the fuck you doing. Tom, you gotta stop it. Tom, you just gotta stop. This
very first video in this series,
so bad.
This is the plausible deniability that these people resort to in order to not be labeled what they truly are: anti-black bigots and misogynists. And we...
Okay, gotta have another ad, I guess. Sure. Get out of here before then. Always laugh at the end. See, now, you gotta understand, this guy is... Oh my goodness, he is so off the deep end, and it's like it's frustrating hearing people talk like this, who speak on shit like this, and they talk about things like this. Because again, he went on a tirade about saying that he's not racist when he systematically has done everything that he possibly could to basically do racist shit. It's like you're projecting in a weird way. You're calling out, saying that these people are anti like black bigots and all this shit like that. For what? You know, and it's like, what's the end game behind that mentality? But to go even further from that, it's like, okay, this is what you're saying. This is how you feel. This is what you think, or whatever. But it's like you have such a weird mentality to where it's like you're so sure they're everything that you say they are, yet you do absolutely no type of scrutiny to even fucking proving half of the shit that you're talking about or what you're calling them out for. It's like, okay, you're saying that they're a bigot, you're saying that they're racist, you're saying they're anti-black. Give me a fucking example, dude. If you're so solid in your stance that they are those things, why aren't you proving it? Why would you go into such grandiose detail to say that it's okay for you to say Uncle Tom because that's supposedly a black thing, but motherfucker, anybody can call you an Uncle Tom? Fuck you. Why would you go into such grandiose detail for something that's that, as minuscule as that, to where it took up literally almost half of your fucking video to even do that. And then you would just go out of your way to just essentially just what the fuck is it called? Mudsling. It's like you would just mudsling towards everything else in this topic, going to these other people. They're bigots and racist because they said they didn't like the black character from Acolyte. There are so many things that happened up until the release of Acolyte that it is retarded to even think that that would be the only reason people would be upset at that character. Again, the main actress who played the main character in Acolyte did shit that fundamentally fans would disapprove of or didn't like, because of the fact that people who are huge fans tend to review, look into, and research shit before it even comes out. That's how they know to get excited for it. That's how they know they want to watch it. They look into it. And then when you look into something and everyone that's talking about it is telling you, this is going to be the gayest Star Wars. This is going to be against misogyny. This is going to, yes, yeah. All that shit, those memes come from places because people put in the time and effort to look at that shit and get dissatisfied with what the fuck Star Wars was going to do. So to bring up the Acolyte and essentially just disregard everything coincide with the Acolyte and all that happened within Star Wars and Star Wars fandom. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, how stupid could you possibly be to where it's like, oh, I'm pretty sure if it was some shit you was passionate about, oh, you would understand all of this stuff. Even to go so far as essentially disregard the writing, which would be one of the major things that people were dissatisfied with, because again, the writing is a core concept for something as far as Star Wars, because you're dealing with some other shit that is attached to something that is known for its narrative, for its writing, for its lore. That's why nerds enjoy this shit. So when you just have some shit in it that just doesn't make any fucking sense and that coincides with that fandom, they tend to get agitated with it. Now then, you're not even gonna bring up fucking all the Rey movies, and that the lead character of that are white, both the bad guy and the good guy, and yet those movies are not liked by the fans. They made a bunch of money, yes it did, but fans hate those movies. They have systematically went out of their way to say that they hate those movies. Those movies have been reviewed in grandiose detail to showcase why people hate those movies. People have went extensively to showcase exactly how terrible those movies are just for Star Wars. Sorry, I hit my mic again. Just for Star Wars on a fundamental level because of how bad those movies are. Why aren't you bringing those up? It's like, it can't be with the people who didn't like. You really think anyone was on there and they didn't talk about how Rey was a woman? They get this. Like, what? How dare they? How dare they? It's like, you really think that wasn't a topic for discussion for some people who just hate for the sake of hating? Who gives a fuck? That's not what we're on right now. But what we are talking about is something that essentially was just really, really, really fucking bad. And it really, really, really need to be called out for it. And it's like, you just want to just disregard that completely. And that's just so stupid. So stupid.
We know that's what these people are because they were saying these things before the show even released.
Again, the show. Oh my God, there was a huge fucking Star Wars convention that talked about this shit that they did. And what was it, the UK? Because that was like the major one. Fucking, I know that because It's a Gundam did a video on that, and I love It's a Gundam's content. That dude's hilarious. And it was like, that's how I found out about it. And it was like, yeah, and then the fucking the black chick that's on the Acolyte, not the main character, but one of the dumb witch ladies. She was fucking the meme came from her. Her goofy ass just sitting up there, yes, yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's like, oh, it's like, but it got review bomb. It's like, you using Rotten Tomatoes, which is a bad review site. I just completely stay away from shit like that. And then at the same time, again, we're dealing with the shit that was going on with Disney Plus, them already losing subscribers, the fact that the show essentially was poorly written, the fact that the show fundamentally did a bunch of shit that went against Star Wars lore. You had a bunch of the actors, actresses, and showrunners going out of their way to basically talk about and dictate that this series was not meant for the average Star Wars fan, but instead for a new class of fan that they were trying to promote to, not the old ones. So nothing about what happened with the Acolyte was actually done in a way to where you could positively spin that it would be okay for a fan to jump into and actually be cool with everything that was going on. No, all of it was bad. Not just the fact that the bitch was black. All of it was bad. But you can't understand that because again, you're stupid. You're cherry picking. You're dissatisfied with the fact that you don't know what it is that you don't know. So everyone's a bigot. That's the short and sweet of it. Everyone's a bigot or racist because you don't know any better. Damn.
Self, Eric, have flipped on Miles Morales when you learned that leaning into the hatred of black characters was profitable. We have you on.
And it says, fun fact. Eric used to like the character, even saying he's more than just a black Peter Parker, but he's changed his tune when he found out he could make more money by pandering to racist comic book fans who hate Miles Morales. You're just actively making shit up. Ha 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 ha. Now, I'm pretty sure Eric July actually made a statement to coincide against this. If he did, that probably exists, and it would behoove you to have that and then dismantle that to prove Eric July is lying. But I don't think you're gonna do that. And so again, I would have to give the benefit of the doubt that this is not true because again, I have spent all of my video showcasing how you is a lying piece of shit. So I cannot go, well, I'm gonna say I agree that maybe Eric July like flip-flopped or something. Well, I can't do that because this nigga is tripping. He can't even use his own fucking definition correctly. So Birdman, you's a liar. Unless you can prove it. I hope you prove it. I hope you show him say something. Because I'm pretty sure you're gonna be disingenuous though.
That you are not being honest here. And
because again, this is you're highlighting and quote tweeting. You're highlighting a tweet from someone else, not Eric July saying the thing. Jesus Christ! You see how this shit don't make sense? And it's like we know he actually used to be on our side, and it was like, well, this guy just said that, but where's the proof? I need the proof. Come on, man.
Once again, doing the bidding of white supremacists.
How?
Further,
and again, just because someone is white doesn't mean that they're a white supremacist. You know what that entails to be a white supremacist? If these people are upset at comic books basically getting fucked over on a fundamental level, how is it that that's white supremacy? All the comic book characters that they're talking about just happen to be white, but that's because they were made by whites in an industry controlled by whites, in an industry that published by whites, that the people who made the comic book stores were white, people who printed on the paper were white. All of this shit was just white way before we came into the viewscape of actually being indulged or put into the industry, to the point where a majority of the black characters that we talk about were created by whites. So what exactly do you expect to happen? Like that just when the civil rights movement ended, like everyone just, blank slate? Because that didn't fucking happen. So you idiot. So sit here and be like, oh, you're a white supremacist because you wanted these characters to be white. No, it's a realism thing. These characters are white. And it's just that if you want a black character, make a black character. They're not saying you can't. They aren't saying that you shouldn't. In fact, they've never said that. If they did, then you'd be on to something. But they didn't. And you know that. But you're stupid. So here we are. I'm a quick play now. This fucking idiot.
What if black characters explore racism in their stories? Racism is a constant issue black people face. We are inundated with racist people and their attitudes on a near daily basis.
Everybody is, dumbass. That's not a us thing. That's not just a us thing. Everybody is. Everybody is. I don't know how, but somehow they know. If a Chinese person goes to Japan, Japanese people know that they're Chinese. If you was to go to China, they would know that you black. And you have to deal with the consequences of that. But motherfucker, so that doesn't mean that has to be in every single subject matter or story that comes out. Nor does that mean that has to be like every subject of topic that is done by black people. And it's okay if someone wants to mention it or someone wants to bring it up. But again, the argument or the topic that he brought up is the fact that it is considered boring. And again, if you're going into manga with a story like this, yes, This is very much boring. And the sad thing is with Slice of Life is that Slice of Life typically only is as interesting as the original introduction of whatever the story is going to be. And then in order for it to actually stay popular, they have to get incredibly more worse. Incredibly more worse. It's not correct English, but it has to get just systematically a far more hyperfixation of dramatization in order for it to actually stay within the mainstream focus of manga. Every fucking time that they do slice of life stories, the drama has to keep escalating. Otherwise, the story is interesting. So whether or not they actually meet a profound conclusion with these characters or anything's actually done in a great way, as far as manga is concerned, they'll keep pushing if they can keep pushing, regardless of the subject matter or what it is that they're trying to convey. They'll just keep pushing. Hell, you see that shit happen in actual shonen, which is terrible. But again, that's when the situation becomes more so of a committee making a decision rather than the actual mangaka having control over the say and what it is he's going to do in his body of work. So, again, you're dealing with a medium that obviously you don't understand, talking about a subject matter that has its ups and its downs, but you fundamentally have to understand that, yes, if this shit isn't interesting, then no one's going to like it. But if this shit is focusing on something that happens to be the niche of a niche of a niche of a niche, then that's even less likely to get people interested in the motherfucker in the first place, to even care to even look at it. And all of these factors would contribute to the fact that no one would read the book, or no one might even like the story or the book in general. And if that happens, people like you would just sit there and flip-flop this and say that this was only done because of racism. Because that's what dumb racists do. It's the stupidest fucking thing in the world, but it happens every fucking time. You take away all of the context as to why something would basically be fucked up, and then you just take only the thing that you wanted to be fucked up for, and then you just harp on that and harp on that so you feel better about yourself. Why? I don't know. I don't know the mind of a racist because I am not. Come on, Tom. Let's keep going. Oh no, don't play another ad. I don't want another ad.
Police
Okay.
stop us because we are driving while black. Due to redlining and other historic systemic issues, we face poverty at a much higher rate than other groups. We can't even go online and share our ideas without being hit with constant racial epithets and denigration.
Then get off Twitter. The redliner thing. Yes, that's an issue. Okay. Why don't you have a video on how to fix that? How do you fix that? Because you could bitch about it, but how do you fix it? You know how to fix it? I know how to fix it, but I don't want to talk about it. You know why? Because that'd be boring. I don't want to be bored and talk about how to fix issues. I don't give a fuck. I know how. I don't give a fuck. Because that'd be boring. It's like you have an issue about the hate speech shit that's on Twitter. It's Twitter. The fuck? That's not a place. It's not a real place. You want to speak about what you want to speak about? Bitch, you're on a platform. So you're on a platform complaining about another platform not allowing you to do shit because it's controlled by someone else who runs that platform? Get the fuck out of here. Oh, they don't let black people say what they want to say. They go somewhere else. Have someone make another Twitter. Oh, but they did. No one cares because they became incredibly racist with how they handle shit because it got called Black Twitter. And it was really stupid rather than just being a different site. Isn't it crazy that essentially Blue Sky was all that you would want if you wanted black people to have a voice, but Blue Sky itself just got overpopulated by the wrong kind of people because they had no scrutiny over who the fuck they let in. The irony is palpable. It's just in your face. It's juicy. It's so juicy. What did Black Twitter not do well? Oh, it only had black people. What? What did Blue Sky not do well? They kept they let in everybody. And I mean everybody. What? Shit's not good.
This is our lived experience, and that's why we talk about it so much.
Yeah, but you don't have to talk about it so much. Motherfucker, is there anything? You know what I would love? I would love to hear that a black creator created a sci-fi show. I would love to hear that a black creator made a story that wasn't offshoot of Star Trek or Star Wars, but a brand new story with aliens and fighters and whatnot, and abilities and powers and shit like that. Some grandiose lore and books and whatnot that I can get interested in, because we know people are interested in it whether or not it's like a huge hit or a huge success or something like that. Because Dune popped the fuck off. Dune was awesome, and I loved every minute of it. But at the same time, I would love to see if someone black could basically make something of equal magnitude and it be just as equally interesting, fun, engaging, and something I would care for. And then at one point in time, just do anything that would essentially be like, this is what the white man made Earth so bad we had to leave. That honestly would be a funny way to start the show, but still. I would advocate against it, but it would be quite comical. I would laugh my ass off. That's how you started it, though.
Privilege it must be to not have to deal with this stuff and therefore talk about this stuff, huh? Besides, what's it to you? This entire video is about a manga that will be released in Japan. Why do you even care that this story exists and that there is a...
Oh my god, you stupid bitch. You unbelievable stupid bitch. What the fuck? What the fuck? What is it to you? It's gonna be released in Japan. Motherfucker, what? What? That. You see what I mean? Like, if you do you see what I mean on exactly how fundamentally terrible these people are? Because they won't stop until everyone is as bitter and heartless as them when it comes to this shit. Because it functions well for them to be this fucked up in their overall assessment towards just general shit. Manga is a worldwide cultural phenomenon. Lots of people read manga all over the fucking world. One Piece is the most popular manga in the world, not Japan, the world. And it shows because, again, we have so many different things that showcase and highlight this shit. You know anime is played on TV in America. You know manga had a big boom as well as national fucking news when it became incredibly popular during the pandemic. And you know that the goddamn, again, everyone, again, more so national news was broken when Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, passed away. Because that's how big of a fucking cultural shock that was towards everybody. To where you seen different people around the world giving the spirit bomb hands up sign. So to sit there and for your punk disingenuous ass to sit here and even claim that this isn't a big deal, or this is something that it's not a big deal, but this is something that he shouldn't even be talking about because it'll be released in Japan, knowing full damn well that Americans read Japanese manga, that this could get an English translation somewhere, or it could be scanned and put on a website somewhere, and it's just something up for talk that people are talking about because it would be an interesting conversation to have about a manga that's being made about a black character. When again, a topic of conversation for a lot of people have been, why isn't there an original black character in manga and anime? Or why haven't there been any original black anime characters? When there are plenty. It's just that people don't want to talk about that. And so again, you're dealing with someone who legitimately has a comic book company, who actively is also making a fucking anime or a manga for his comic book company. I wouldn't call it a manga because he's still an American company. It might be done in the manga style, but that's how that is. I never go against that mindset. If he ain't doing it in Japan, he ain't making no manga. That's how I feel. You want to be a mangaka? Go through the mangaka route. Then you a mangaka. Then you made a manga. If not, you just drew something in a manga style. That's all. But again, there's no reason for him not to talk about this. This is something, literally, you're talking about a black man speaking on a comic book that is about a black person. And regardless of if them being mixed race, black is black. Black is beautiful. And again, This is dealing within the realm of his fucking industry. Comic books. Manga is just a Japanese comic book. That's all it is. It's a different word for the same thing. When they say, they would go, it's an American manga. That's, they would say an American manga. They just call them comic books. They're weird. That's just how that goes. That's the cultural difference, and that's as far as that's separated. They read them on the wrong side, by the way. So again, you're being disingenuous. You're being disingenuous because you're a fuck. Because if you was to sit there and criticize him looking at this, then you should criticize yourself for even caring about him saying anything about it in the first fucking place. But you can't do that because you a dumbass. God damn it, Tom. You keep failing over and over again. You fail because you're stupid. And it's not good. It really isn't good. Oh my goodness. Gotta keep the party going though. Gotta keep the party going.
Conversation about it. I mean, when I don't like or am not interested in something, I don't even think about it, let alone make a YouTube video about it.
And why are you making a YouTube video about this? What the fuck? And if your punk ass tries to give some type of clemency as to why you're making a video about this, and then that absolves you from the mentality of, oh, when I don't like something, I don't make a video. No, bitch. If anything, that just proves exactly how much of an idiot you really are. When I don't like something, I don't make a whole fucking YouTube video. You have a 30-minute video over a 4-minute video. I know my video is going to be fucking long, but that's, again, systematically stopping and pausing for every time you say something stupid. So it can't be that you had the same effect with Eric July, because your punk ass keeps going into shit that don't fucking matter and proving how stupid you are. Ooh, I'm getting angry. I'm getting upset. This is worse than driving. Oh my goodness.
Mode season is simply talking about a reality. People complain no matter what if a black character is involved.
For some reason, these guys have not figured it out. A lot of people have not figured it out, especially more so in the mainstream, more front-facing entertainment properties. They have not figured out the fact that you can create a character that just happens to be black, and they can have other things about them that are intriguing. And sure, that takes a lot of work. It may take even years, decades even, for some of these characters to catch on. Absolutely.
But they do make those characters. Literally, the tweet you've made into this video is talking explicitly about that. I mentioned The Acolyte earlier. It featured original characters whose story wasn't centered around their ethnicity, and it still got shit on. And once again, before the clowns...
You see what I mean about this motherfucker? Like, this is the kind of shit that makes you want to punch someone in the face for being stupid. Understand that everything that he just said was undeniably stupid, because again, it just showed you exactly how much he don't fucking get it. This is the worst kind of nerd that could ever possibly exist, because this is someone who has a platform, who has an audience, who has a subscriber base that listens to this shit, and they agree with this fuck because they don't understand that he don't know what the fuck he talking about. This nigga's just sat up here and talked about The Acolyte, not once, not twice, but at least 3 fucking times. And in each fucking time, he has failed to mention the fact that he obviously don't know shit about Star Wars. I am not a Star Wars fan, but motherfucker, I understood what the fuck was wrong with Acolyte. I know that this series did everything that it could to possibly make anyone that was a fan of the, Star Wars not like it, because it was a perfect example of everything wrong that you see in modern day media happening again and again and again. They did press release, they did tours, they did interviews where all these people did was shit on Star Wars as a whole and talk about how great their series is, despite it fitting within the Star Wars world, but it not being how a typical Star Wars story is supposed to be, or matching what Star Wars already has established itself to be. And so because of that, it did bad, because it was a bad show. It was poorly written, poorly acted, and it made absolutely no fucking sense. They dropped shit in just because they wanted to drop shit in, and they had characters and actors do just random goofy shit just for the hell of it. It was a bad show. Now, again, I'm not a Star Wars fan, but looking into this shit and watching this shit just because I'm interested in the media or pop culture, that's on me. But to sit here and actually go that, oh, I brought up Acolyte and everyone just shit on it because it had black original characters. People shit on it because it didn't make any sense. The black bitch that's on the screen right now was a fucking weird force using witch that actually wanted to kill some characters who wanted nothing to do with anything they had going on. but because they felt like they wanted to kill these characters, they tried to kill these characters, and it wound up getting them killed instead because of stupidity. And that's bad. That's a bad concept. That's a bad story arc. That's a dumb thing to happen to this character over a dumb reason. That's stupid. That's a poorly written thing. Have you noticed that nothing that I said about what happened had anything to do with her fucking skin color? So then why are you harping on some shit when you don't even understand what the fuck it is that you harping on when you are this completely, like, you're this fixated on the race thing being a problem, not understanding that it's not. The only person bringing this shit up and having an issue with it is you. The idea behind what Eric July said is not wrong, because you haven't even given an example of how that's been disproven. You're talking about a show that automatically, fundamentally, was just a bad show. Bring up a fucking show with a black character that doesn't talk about their race, that is held in high regard. That's actually a good show. I already talked about The Wire. That got multiple black characters in it, and those characters go through ups and downs, loop-de-loops, whatever the fuck you want to say. And that's a well-written, well-good, well-respected show. It's not critically acclaimed because of the fact that it did what it did, and it got scrutiny for it because it was too fucking real, which I already stated. And again, you also had what happened with the Valerians in Lord of the Rings, and fucking the House of the Dragon. And again, that show was actually praised and held in high regard, and people who actually like Game of Thrones still enjoyed it because it didn't shy away from what Game of Thrones is, despite doing what it did with black characters. So, you dumb bitch, what the fuck is it that you're not understanding? The Acolyte was a bad show. So despite the fact of having characters that are black in something that doesn't revolve around their race, that does not absolve it from being considered bad. It's still a bad show. It doesn't remove it or anything like that. You have to understand that. You have to put that stamp on something. It's like, at least let it fucking be good. It gotta be good if you want it to pass that overall assessment on whether or not it's gonna adhere to the cultural aspect of what it is that you're talking about. Yes, it has black characters in it. Yes, it's starring a black character. Yes, it has multiple different race, color characters and creed codes, whatever the fuck you want to say. Yes, it does have all that. Is it a good show despite all of that? Fuck no. Not at all. It checks all the boxes that have always been checked whenever they do this woke shit, is that they want all of this diversity, inclusion, and exclusivity shit to be thrown in, but at the same time, no one cares for the quality of the content. It's bad content. It's bad content. You don't sit there and tell me it's okay to eat this fruit bowl if I'm sitting there telling you everything in it is rotten. And you go, what, you don't like fruits and vegetables? No, nigga, this is rotten. I would love to eat some fruits and vegetables if you gave me fresh ones. This shit is rotten. It's rotten, smells bad, tastes bad. I don't want it. No, you just don't like fruits and vegetables. You're a racist. That's what your dumbass sounds like. So you don't even understand the subject matter of the topic that you want to bring up, but your dumbass is too stupid to actually bring up something that could prove your point, because the only thing that you have to go on is something that recently was able to come out that possibly fits with your criteria of what you want to bitch about. But it doesn't, because you don't even know what the fuck happened in the show, because you didn't even give a damn to watch it. So you're talking out of your ass right now because you're stupid. This, Tom, is why you a Tom. And it's okay to be a Tom. You just need to understand your place, which is why Tom is in the house. Fuck. I'm getting so upset.
That try to chalk that response up to bad writing. These people were complaining about the show before it ever released. And we know these people never even watched the show because they were leaving these reviews on a 2008 film called Acolytes, a completely different property that had nothing to do with Star Wars. People like The Critical Drinker.
Well, again, wouldn't it have been because of the fact that the Acolyte wasn't out yet, which is what you just said? It was like they were leaving negative reviews on the Acolyte before the Acolyte got released. But again, review bombing is not new. Neither, and there's like, and also in the issue with review bombing, was all the reviews that was bombed negative or positive? Because it tends to work both ways. You have so many people who are willing to just shill for this goofy shit that they'll just say anything and everything positive, just as much as you have people saying negative shit. This is not something rare when it comes to big name properties that have huge names attached to it. Fuck, major thing I always bring up is fucking Kojima when it came to Metacritic, where they did everything they could to get rid of all of the review bombs that were botted in terms of negative reviews for that game. And yet people went in and understood that they actually had just as many botted positive reviews for that game, which they never got rid of. And it was like, and it goes to show you exactly what it is that these people care about and how it is that they function on a systematic level, or it's just like what is these corporations are willing to do to just make that bag. But just because that thing happened with the Acolyte, again, I have to grab your ear for that one, is that people knew about the show before the show even came out because they did everything they could to explain to people the show. And that's not a good thing, bitch. That's a really bad thing when the show is bad. But, I mean, what would you know? Like, because this, thinking about it, this honestly would be like basic information for typical nerds. Not for Star Wars, but for understanding exactly the concept of the terminology and how it is that they function for the shows, release dates, premieres, things like that, fans being hyper excited for things, review bombing and all that stuff. It's part for the core when it comes for nerd culture shit. But one would think that essentially someone who happens to be a grifter wouldn't understand this stuff, so they would go out their way to actually state and cherry pick all this stuff to try and bring it to light and talk about this dissatisfaction that they have with what's going on in race and shit like that, only to not understand that basically all of that stuff is just a part of nerd culture, not a part of any type of racist or bigotry or anything like that. It's just that that's how nerds get down, especially within the Star Wars fandom, which is just far beyond anything you can see, as far as like obsession is concerned. But excuse me, I had my mic again. But if you are someone that tries to ignore such topics and whatnot because of the fact that, well, you're not actually a nerd, but instead just grifting, well, I would think this is the arguments that you would bring up and that you would talk about. But be that as it may, far be it from me to actually point that out or talk about it. Let's go, Tom. Come on, Tom. Let's keep going.
Had videos counting the Padawans in the trailer, looking for white male characters, proving definitively that these people's issue with these properties are the actor's identity, and they then later seek out issues to cloak their bigotry and justify their hatred.
I mean, I definitely had fun playing a particularly challenging game of Spot the White Guy with this trailer, because damn man, this one shows enough to fulfill Disney's entire DEI quota for the next 2 fiscal years. For example, check out this collection of Jedi Padawans and see if you can identify the one demographic that's mysteriously left out.
Then, people like you come out and do damage control, telling everyone who can clearly see the issue was racism and misogyny.
But that would be a clear indication of racism towards white people, if anything, just towards white men, because there weren't any positive white men. And for a white guy looking at it, it would be the equivalent of me being like, well, there's no positive black person in this series, and there weren't. There's no positive black person in the Acolyte, so it would make sense that I would say that, because there isn't. So for me to go, well, there's no good depiction of a positive black man in the Acolyte series that actually I care, rooting for, or even give a damn about, or is well written or well liked or anything like that. So I would well be in my rights to bring it up and talk about it if I'm able to notice it, because that's fucked up. Just as much as them or any white man looking at the Acolyte and understanding that this thing was made to be this technicolor raincoat bullshit of everyone and anyone without actually adhering to white men. And that would be a cause for concern, because then it would make me feel not represented, or essentially kind of left out of the loop of having any type of positive and involvement into the series, because I know that everything that's being done with this is based off of racism and exclusivity and shit like that. It's dumb. It's really dumb that you have an issue with them having an issue with not being represented. When essentially, if the shoe was on the other foot, you would have an issue with that. And it's just them calling out the bullshit that just came from Disney Star Wars. It's not as if what they're doing is just something that's systematically dismantling all cultural races, because it's not as if they asked for the rest of them to be removed. It was just the fact that they don't see any of themselves, which again is what it like is what you're advocating for. So it's like you want this inclusion, and it's like yet you're also excluding. That's backwards. That's stupid. You're being racist. That's what a racist does.
That you are all being misrepresented and that everyone is missing the point. Yeah, fucking right.
Oh, God damn it, another ad. No, no, no. Sorry for the sudden change and everything. Hopefully, this fixes some of the audio problems I was having earlier, but I was able to back away, calm down, and then see if we can get the rest of this party going. I don't know, I do appreciate everyone that was able to stick through a lot of what was going on. Probably just I don't know what's happened with the audio, but I'm gonna get to it. I swear.
Yeah, fucking right.
But this reliance upon their race and saying that they basically have to deal with that aspect of it, people often reject it.
Translation. Bigots don't.
No, that's very much true. Because we've seen that with everything that has tried to do that as an example, and it's like just talking, just being like, hey, this is about marginalized group, and it's like we're gonna go into detail about it, and it's like what, why, fuck. The Echo Show is a perfect example for that. That was a whole show predicated toward a character that essentially was thrown in like the weirdest aspect of a DEI hire. And it's like even so much as to be presented as essentially damn near like a second coming of Kingpin, like he was making an heir out of her. When it was like she's deaf without missing a leg and a hand or something. She was missing a leg or something like that, and her powers were basically passed down Native American juju, but the actual character was someone who essentially was able to actually copy people, and which honestly was a far more interesting and intriguing concept. But the show decided to go full heritage, and it just was nothing. Blue Beetle, another series that essentially dove deep into the Mexican heritage, but because the movie itself was very much more of the same of anything else you've seen as far as superheroes were concerned, you probably didn't even remember that movie until I just mentioned it. That's sad. That's a sad thing. But yeah, it was like there's nothing awe-inspiring or intriguing or that stayed with you from looking at Blue Beetle. But the stuff that actually makes Blue Beetle an interesting character, that movie didn't have. So it was like, yeah, they got Jaime, the actual Mexican guy who gets the scarab eventually, but that was it. And it's like this that was it. It wasn't a bad movie. It was just a very mid movie. Nothing interesting or intriguing about it. I got a review about the movie, but yeah, it was nothing. Yeah, it was just nothing. It was just really, really nothing. So it's understandable when it's like you've seen multiple examples of this stuff being done on different mediums within entertainment where people just don't like this stuff being pushed into their face like this, as well as being trying to essentially gaslight people into thinking that this is actual entertainment or this is something that you need to look at or that it is interesting or is good or will be. And it's not. It genuinely is not. No one cares about the stuff that doesn't have the same staying power as older movies or actually good or intriguing movies. It's a gimmick. It's a lame gimmick. And the problem with gimmicks is that once the gimmick is over with, no one cares about it. But with these things is that their gimmick is something that people just already don't care about. So they're missing the point. They're genuinely missing the point. Like you. There's too much of this video left, man. I really
Like
just
to
want to
face
stop.
criticism of bigotry. News at 11. If you're tired of hearing about people fighting racism all the time, perhaps it's time to join the fight, Master Chief, and end racism so you don't have to hear about it ever again.
You can't.
You write comics about superheroes, for fuck's sake. What are your heroes fighting against, if not injustice?
So you're not necessarily.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it has to be about race. Just because he makes superheroes doesn't mean that superheroes have to fight about race. Or it's like, again, it's like you're going against injustice, but it's their own personal and private stories. The fact that you know he has a comic book and has comic book characters means that you understand that, like, he can come from a standpoint of essentially what it is that would drive entertainment. Whether or not you mention race, or whether or not you actually indulge or talk about or showcase something that reveals race and whatnot, that is, again, you have every right to if you feel like it, but his statement still stands. If the shit is boring, it's boring. If it's not intriguing or no one wants to buy it, then no one wants to buy it. It doesn't matter that it just happens to be of a topic that is a topic that'll never go away, or is a big topic of in accordance to a marginalized group of people, or just a whole race of people. If it ain't something general audience could actually latch on to and is willing to dive and waste their money and time and effort into spending into caring about this thing, then they won't care about it. It doesn't matter what you feel about that subject matter. Someone has to care about it in order for them to want to buy it. Someone has to care in order for someone to want to read it. Someone has to actually give a damn in order for them to actually keep on doing it after the fact of them initially just seeing that, hey, this story is just about a brother and a sister dealing with being half black and half Japanese in Japan. And I was like, okay, and it's like I'm not saying that that's going to be the case for this manga. I'm just saying that is definitely an argument to be had in terms of actually keeping people invested in your story and wanting to indulge in your product. And that's so far from what Eric July, that's all that he's talking about. But it's like your issue with that is that essentially you just don't agree with it. But there's been evidence time and time again that's proven that the DEI shit doesn't sell. It doesn't work. It don't hit home with the media of the people that essentially indulge in the shit that they indulge in. And you have to acknowledge that. You need to acknowledge that, because there's too much of that going on and not the opposite. And it's odd. It's very odd that you're just being disingenuous towards this because of that fact. But whatever.
Creating this original character, or rather, you're relying on this trope that people find off-putting and boring. Now, I've obviously created several characters myself over here at the Riververse. Some happen to be black, some not. And that's one of the things that it's just not as difficult as people may make it out to be. And there are those that are out there that love these topics constantly being I guess sought after, or rather, them kind of expanding upon that, because that represents their real world view. So they want the
See, I think that that's funny. Essentially, it's been multiple times in which I've spoken on Tom's video here, and where I basically kind of preemptively predicted what it is that he was going to say before he said it, or just kind of got into that, or I said something which he gave the rebuttal, or like the average rebuttal to, that you would hear from people that would bring up the topics or whatever. But I find it funny that essentially Eric July has done it with him, where he's been saying all this shit about race and things like that, and then he basically brought up the fact where it's like, hey, people are interested in that stuff if you want to be interested in that stuff, but I just find that funny.
on that, because that represents their real world view. So they want the characters to be representative of that. But
I think it's funny that Birdman isn't, he's not saying anything about this right now. It's like, realistically, it's like, hey, he calling you out.
On the other hand, it's not a difficult thing to do. You can make characters and they can just be cool. I've made Salvage. I've made, obviously, Isom. I've made Bloodruth out there behind me. And one thing that none of them have had to deal with in their storylines is their race.
Congratulations. You have described the freedom of being an artist. Now, why are you denigrating other artists that use that same freedom to say something about an important issue? Again, we are talking about a manga made by a Japanese person primarily for the consumption of Japanese people about an issue that affects Japanese people.
It affects half Japanese people. Not okay. Let's call a spade a spade. All right. And again, there's nothing wrong with him giving his opinion because again, you're giving your opinion just like how I'm giving my opinion. And again, there's nothing wrong with him stating these facts or bringing up these topics because, he said at first, it's boring because it is boring. And if you're going in the sphere of manga, look at what is considered the most popular manga, what are considered the most sought after and sold manga. They're not fucking slice of life, let alone slice of life shit that involves half black, half Japanese people. So, with that intent, you have to understand what he's advocating, what he's talking about is the fact that you don't have to make you don't have to make a black character and then they just focus on their race. You can make a black character and they can focus on anything else and it would be fine. But they're not.
These are a couple of the responses to the original tweet announcing the project. You can't just brush these off as a couple of trolls, as they receive thousands of likes.
You can brush that off as trolls because that's what trolls are. Those were troll memes. The fuck, just because just because it gained a bunch of retention does not mean that it's any less of a troll. It doesn't take away from what the original intent is. It's fucked up. It's fucked up and it was done by a troll. Whoop-de-fucking do. You can ignore it or whatever. You can't sit there and tell people that, no, you have to pay attention to this because the numbers reach the number that scare me. Get the fuck out of here, you little bitch. Who cares? This is again, I have to bring myself back. This is the same person who sat there and would essentially bitch and moan and whine about people who don't have as much subscriber account or has an attention being shown on them as they do to you for you to understand or to resonate that, hey, opinions could just be opinions. It ain't got fuck all to do with whether or not people are looking at you or caring about what you're saying. No. To you, these numbers are important. To you, these numbers matter. These numbers are a big fucking deal. And it really isn't. This video currently that I'm looking at by Tom here, I believe his video actually has more views than Eric July's video. Does that mean anything? Does that take away any more of what Eric July says? Not one fucking bit. Not at all. And the thing is that in accordance to him, he would probably look at this as a huge victory, while I would look at this as something where you've probably given Eric July more fans because there have been some people who probably listened to what you said and went, wow, you're out of your fucking mind. Like me.
Artists can't even depict a reality without anti-blackness rearing its ugly head. And yes, this is a reality. My best friend, who some of you have heard me stream with, is half black and half Japanese. He was born in Japan, grew up in Los Angeles, and currently lives in Japan. He has told me stories about experiences he had when he was young and now as a grown man with his own child, and I interviewed him specifically about this.
All right, cool. So,
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't understand the fixation of you constantly trying to bring up your own personal inadequacies, because it's an inadequacy because mentioning it. Your own personal inadequacies of essentially trying to justify the standpoint when it again is not something that negates what Eric July said. It's boring. I don't give a fuck what your friend went through, and it's like, my friend's been through shit. I've been through shit. That's it is what it is. But the problem is that are these stories interesting and entertaining? Millions of people have stories to tell, but how many people actually want to listen? It doesn't matter. I say million, billions, or everybody has a story to tell, but how many people actually want to listen to it? And the thing is that what you're clearly not understanding is that nothing of what Eric July is saying is going against or advocating against anything that would have been degradation of the character or anything like that. He even stated in the little clip that you just showed, you dumbass, that if you like to make that, there are people who enjoy making that, but you don't have to make your character hit those pratfalls of talking about and only focusing on race, which is what this manga is going to do. Because the summary states such. It's talking about this character being half black and half Japanese in Japan. That's the summary. So that's what I would expect for this series to cover. And the thing is that as someone who is black, that is deeply interested in Japanese culture, that likes anime and manga. I'm not a fucking weeb though, but likes anime and manga. I enjoy looking at things that talk about anime, Japanese culture. I look at dramas, I look at their movies, I watch their TV shows, I'll look at the anime, look at manga. I do that for Korean, Chinese, whatever. I'm interested in that shit, so I indulge in that shit. And so, with that being the case, as someone who has read hundreds of fucking manga, I can say personally, I have no interest in looking into this because my genre of choice is not slice of life. I do not like to look at slice of life stuff. So I would stay away from this. The racial aspect of this is something that I couldn't care less about. You're half black and Japanese, you're half black and Japanese dealing with racism. I'm black in America. I'm black living in America and I'm dealing with racism. Whoop-de-fucking do. That shit don't disappear, nigga. Get tougher skin. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. And the thing is that it's just you have to understand these people don't get that. They don't get any of that. These are the type of people who sit there and just start screaming in the middle of the street because someone walked past them and go, "Move, nigga. Excuse me. How dare you refer to me that word? I am no way, shape, or form an N-word." And I'm like, nigga, shut up. These people don't walk down the street. These people get Ubers like that. See, now I'm getting personal, and I'm getting personal in a mean-spirited way, and I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. But you can tell from the fact that you're able to visit and talk to your friend who lives in Japan, lets me know exactly what kind of fucking income bracket you are, or what income bracket you grew up with, that would adhere for you to essentially have such thin skin when it comes to this topic and subject matter. You are a nerd. Granted, you are a nerd. But, and so am I, but you have to understand at some point in time, you need to get a grip when it comes to this shit. Not everything that is associated with black people has a racial hatred attached to it. Sometimes the shit is just poorly written. Not everything that essentially people are talking about or criticizing for being one way is in a negative standpoint. Sometimes shit just sounds bad and people want to give their 2 cents on it, regardless of if you think that it actually will do any good or bad. It just, hey, I want to talk about this subject, so they're going to talk about the subject. I felt the exact same way upon getting recommended this fuck up video, because this is a fuck up video. But again, I got recommended it, and so here I am. But it's like, I have no ill will towards anything that happens. Like, I don't wish harm on you, but I do wish that you essentially would have a better understanding of topics, or that you would go back and look into things and then just have a clearer understanding of shit, because you obviously do not. As you like to cherry pick your arguments, you like to be disingenuous when it comes towards what people are talking about, and you like to innately ignore whole conversations that were had or topics that were given that completely explain and justify everything that was said, in order for you to just sit there and call them racist and bigots. So I am left to sit here and believe that, yeah, you talking about your friend dealing with racist shit in Japan because he's half Japanese, half black, which again is a thing, but at the same time, and oh my God, you're mixed and you met with racism. That never happens to anyone. Like, all around the world, that never fucking happens. What are you, fucking stupid? Yes. And it's like, I'm pretty sure if your friend came over here in America, he'd get pulled over. It's like, it ain't gonna sit there and go, "We phone jock you." It's like, no, the nigga, get out the car. And guess what he would do? He would get out the car. He have no other choice. Or he can sit there and bitch. Doesn't matter. You can bitch and get shot, but just get out the car.
I called you earlier to ask you for this interview, and
oh my God,
I wanted to just know, just off the top of your head, to the best of your ability, what your experience as a half black, half Japanese person has been in Japan when you were younger or when you're older, just whatever comes to mind.
Okay. When I was younger, obviously grew up in the States. Don't remember much of what happened in like '98 when we visited back in Japan. But now
This
it's
nigga.
it's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get treated.
You hear this nigga being a nigga,
If Blasian people living in Japan.
and we gonna sit here and trip. It's like he ain't got no accent or nothing. This a
Endlessly
nigga.
interesting.
So
And it's not just him.
it's like I don't want to listen to it because that's a nigga. So you gonna sit here and go, man, it was hard for this nigga to be a nigga. Quit. Everybody want to be a nigga. Nobody want to be a nigga. He just straight up, I figured he would have some kind of an accent. Yeah, you know. He grew up half Japanese, half black. Do you speak Japanese? Like fluently? Or do you know some words? I got questions. Now I got questions. I have a litany of questions now. No, I'm mainly laughing because this doesn't justify any fucking thing. None of it would have. How did it feel when you grew up? That perfectly explains this manga. Everything's all copacetic now. No, fuck you. That's not what we're talking about. Entertainment, nigga. It's not entertaining. Just like how I skipped that fucking interview because I knew it ain't gonna be shit. You dealt with racism? I dealt with racism. I don't fucking care. You're in another country dealing with racism. Duh. They didn't follow rules that you have in America. Duh. It's a whole nother country. What type of shit is that? Like, how goofy do you have to be to even hear shit like this? And then like you would dare entertain the idea that this somehow justifies the shit that you've just said, let alone discredits everything Eric July said? This shit ain't interesting. The fuck? Like, how does this make this more interesting? They actually go through that. I'm still not interested in the manga. That really happens to people in Japan. I'm still not interested in the manga. The manga isn't interesting. That's the problem. The manga isn't interesting. I don't give a fuck about the real world experiences that happen. The manga isn't interesting. Nigga, there's a reason people call Pearl Harbor out for not being historically accurate. And there's a reason Pearl Harbor is a movie and not a documentary. Because the movie was entertaining, and then people went and saw the movie. But what actually happened at Pearl Harbor is historical, but people aren't paying money to watch the historical accuracies of what happened with Pearl Harbor. It happened, and some people are over it, and some people aren't. Whatever. Whatever. Huh. I think it's weird that I thought of Pearl Harbor when talking about half black, half Japanese people.
Living in Japan with these kinds of experiences that are simply untold.
Ah, damn it. Another ad. Gotta go. All right. Perfect time, actually. See, you gotta understand, this guy is ridiculous because going from his interview of his friend and whatnot, and then even showcasing and highlighting these videos. Now, if you haven't seen these, like YouTube has them. They're actually quite popular. They pop up a lot of times and whatnot. But it's like it's these people interviewing different mixed race people or just Japanese people and asking their take on this overall society and shit like that and the differences and whatnot going on in Japan. And that's fine. That's cool. That's whatever. It's fine. But again, I would look at those videos and I would wonder exactly which of those are they taking out, whereas black people are half black, half Japanese people that actually are cool with everything going on, and they actually haven't had to deal with any scrutiny of racism and things like that, because sometimes shit like that happens. But would I argue against the fact that essentially they would remove that because it doesn't fit the core concept of what their videos are, aka it's not entertaining, so they don't want it? And then at the same time, would you also sit there and would admit that, motherfucker, you can move to a different city in America and be treated completely different than you would if you was back where you just came from. You have to understand this this idea of inequality or racial bigotry or just elitism or just straight up exclusion from shit because you happen to be of a race or different color, gender, or whatever. That's everywhere. That's human. It's human to do that. It's human to separate people and classify them in certain ways and put them in certain places. It's human for you to be friends with like-minded individuals than you would be with people who essentially you don't give a fuck for. It, you have to understand that this guy is cool with, he's friends with who he's friends with. He talks about the stuff that he talks about, and then he does what he does. But he sat there and he advocated that why doesn't Eric July, like Eric July can use his superhero character to like try to end racism. Why would he do that? Who the fuck said that Eric July has to do that with his character? If he decided to make a character, him being a black man that's creative and an artist, and then he decides to make his character do exactly what the fuck he wanted him to do, he wins. That's how you beat racism. He wins. Despite everything that you could possibly bring up that would be a negative aspect towards being black in America, growing up the way that he did, how he did, or doing whatever, and then still making it out ahead, creating some shit that doesn't even fucking mention or involves itself with race, he wins. That's how you win. That's how you beat racism. That right there is the clear fucking perfect example of how you go about destroying that shit at its core. Because you cannot argue with the result. You cannot argue with the fact that his character can inspire everybody. That his character would be something that will be iconic to a multitude of people. Whether or not people even like the comic, I personally have not bought or read any of Eric July's comics. And I say this proudly because of the fact that it's like, I'm not interested in the comics. I'm just not. So it's not a question of, oh, it's because it did this and did that. I'm not a comic book fan. I'm more, let Isom get a cartoon or a TV show or a movie or something like that. I'll be happy to fucking watch it. I'll be more than happy. But I'm not a comic book fan. My comic book knowledge only extends from the characters that I genuinely like, and that happens to be Spider-Man or Batman. So because of that, my knowledge flows from branching out from those characters, from Spider-Man and Batman. I know about the Hulk because Hulk has teamed up with Spider-Man. I know about Wolverine because Wolverine has teamed up with Spider-Man. And it just goes from there. So if there ever is something that basically pops off with ISOM into a different venue outside of comic books, I personally am not buying comic books because that's really the only way you can fucking read ISOM. And again, it's like I'm not really that big into superhero stuff anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But going back to but I digress, going back to what we're talking about here, you have to understand is that what he said and what he mentioned in talking about this shit, it just par for the course for everything else. Again, would it be fair to say that assessment is that these videos where these people are going around interviewing half black, half Japanese people to get their impression of their take of Japan, that it would make sense to bring up the argument that, hey, do they always keep in all the interviews that they talk in, or do they only keep in the interviews that essentially fit the criteria of what it is that they're doing? Talking about people who have the differences. Even then, are the differences really that substantial compared to people who essentially felt fucking true hatred for moving from one state to another state rather than being in a whole nother country and it just being inadequacies of growing up? Because guess what? When you grow up, you feel awkward no matter what, because it's an awkward time and an awkward age in your life. So regardless of that, you look different from everyone else in the whole fucking country. Nigga, of course you're gonna feel awkward. Yeah, you fucking mind. But it's like, yeah, you wouldn't register that because you're just a kid. You're just trying to live your life. No one can explain to you that your life is going to be a certain way or that you have to dictate and live in a certain way, because they can't. No one can live your life for you. No one has lived your life for you. It's your life. Don't you forget. Caught in the crowd. It never ends. So it's, again, this is more of the disingenuous shit, because it's like you're trying to condense and summarize the entirety of a race of people within the mentality of just like a thing. And it's like, oh, I did this thing. Yes, this accumulates all of racism and all the issues and all the problems that have been done. And it's like, no, motherfucker. Sometimes sometimes, just sometimes, it is perfectly fine for someone to admit or to say or to bring up the fact that guess what? No. It's like no, nah, nah. It's just nah. It's it's weird. It really is weird because it's not something you can genuinely just kind of you can't really like knock some sense into people who do their damnedest to try and keep shit like this on the back burner of just like this separatist kind of mentality of just pure racist racial inequality. It's just this weird odd thing where it's like, dude, like how are you missing the point this badly? And it's like to backpedal and to see to where it's like, oh no, you're trying to get this terrible take because you want this subject to be the core argument behind everything you're saying. And it's like, so you're going to do everything you can to reach this exit. It doesn't matter what you have to do to reach that exit. All you want to do is reach this exit. But the problem is that that's not the exit that you're going to is the wrong way. Like that's not the right way. It's the wrong way. But you don't care. You just want to get to the exit. You want to get to your exit. It's like, ugh. So, and it's like, yeah, like you're showing this, and it's like you had your friend talk about whatever. I'm not gonna listen to it because it doesn't matter. And you're gonna have these people doing their thing where they're interviewing people. And again, I'm pretty sure you cherry picked the videos you wanted to put into your video because that's the kind of nigga you are. But it's like again, you're being disingenuous on the front because nigga, I got war stories from moving from place to place to place, and I got war stories from going from fucking one school in Chicago to another school in Chicago to one school in Atlanta to another school in Texas and then to another school in Chicago. It's like the shit. It's like yeah, I moved around too, and
結構今
but
高校
I
生とかでハーフ
went
の
in a
子
whole
見ると
nother
だいぶ
country.
ストレートにして頑張ってるなって思うんだけど、いつかその自分のカーリーがすごい可愛いっていう日が気づく時が来るから、あ、自分もこんな
Can I be honest?
Yeah, of course.
I never been in a relationship before.
So as you can see, this is a reality for black people who were born and or grew up living in Japan.
Nigga, but that's like that doesn't Jesus Christ. It's not the reality. That is a reality that some people have to live with, but it's not the reality. See again, it's disingenuous. That's always I hate using that word when it comes to me like seeing these people talk about stuff like that because of the fact where it's like it's a strong word that they obviously would never get. And it's like it just goes so far over certain people's heads when it's like when you say it and repeat it and whatnot because it's like nigga that the core concept of it is just it realistically is like you don't stand on nothing. It's like it's bitch mentality because it's like yeah you ain't about nothing, so it's like yo you disingenuous. Oh my god. And it's like so you got a whole statement and a whole prior idea and conviction based off of some shit that you don't actually stand on. That's the grift. That's the bullshit. And it's like again, you sitting here going so you see this is a reality for black people that grew up in Japan. And it's like there's worse shit on the news. It's like there's worse people who lived in worse places and it would be those people from those places and still go through horrible heroin shit. Don't fucking matter. That is not what we're talking about. This is a grade A pivot, but it's a pivot from a dumb motherfucker. And only dumb people fall into pivots rather than being smart enough to identify, nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? That's all you gotta do to shut these people up is go, what the fuck are you talking about? What does this have to do with that? And again, these people are not the kind of people who debate. They don't get in a conversation with other people because of the fact that it's like, yeah, that's a problem. They cannot have that problem appear and come up where you would essentially sit there, listen to them speak, and then go, what the fuck are you talking about? You have to make what you just said make sense. You got to explain to me how this actually correlates to what it is that we initially were talking about. Because otherwise, you fucking stupid. That's all it is that this nigga's fucking stupid. Tom, you gotta do better. You gotta do better,
I
Tom.
ask again, what is the problem with a Japanese artist highlighting an issue in their country many of you didn't even know existed?
Oh my God! Did you not know about racism? I knew about racism. Did a lot of people not know about racism? I knew about racism. It didn't happen. Did I know about racism in another country? Yes, of course I did. Why wouldn't I? It's another fucking country. Racism, bitch. Like, nigga, get real. Racism, it exists. Japan ain't special. This nigga is so dumb. You didn't even know this problem existed. I didn't know racism existed in another country. Nigga, China is locking people up for being a part of a different religion. They don't even have to look differently, and they getting locked the fuck up. We gonna highlight that? We gonna talk about that? No, you want to talk about half Japanese, half black? Cool. Well, what is the problem of this person writing this thing in the manga? Is the problem is it going to be boring? Is it going to be boring? Fuck.
Thing that you can make other aspects of them again intriguing, compelling, and they can catch on with people of all races. Because what you end up running into if you do rely upon that so heavily upon that, you end up running into this issue where really it's only speaking to one particular demographic, and that's the demographic that finds number one this sort of thing appealing, and that's not most people.
Exactly.
When you say one demographic, you realize you're talking about billions of people, right?
Bitch, you cannot sit here and say that when your punk ass just sat there and you tried to exclude that every black Japanese born person is going through this shit. How do you convey those two segments where he's essentially dumbing down the fact that yes, this will not be popular. This could not possibly hit a main stage grouping of Japanese people, because why the fuck would they care of this topic or subject matter in a grandstand or major concept when it's only dealing for a certain group of people, dealing with a certain group of people in a certain demographic, dealing with a certain situation. That's not all of Japan. It cannot be all of Japan. So how the fuck are you gonna sit here and go, it means billions of people? Bitch, you already just sat here and tried to dissuade the fact that this is a Japanese artist dealing with a Japanese manga in Japan. And so if it doesn't affect anything in America, there's no way that Americans should even care or read the story either. Isn't that in accordance to how you fucking talked? Because that's what you brought up. Oh, man. Again, disingenuous. Bitch. Stupid. So fucking stupid. Oh, man. This is unbelievably dumb.
White supremacy is historically a global issue. I mean, there was an entire world war fought because of it. And even if you're not talking about that many people, that's okay. Not everything has to be for everyone. As much as I don't care for his work, Tyler Perry has carved out a niche speaking to a very specific demographic and has made over $1 billion. This idea that you need to appeal to everyone is a flawed concept and again reinforces white defaultism.
No, it doesn't, you stupid bitch. And I want to get Tyler Perry off the screen. So, fuck, I don't want him to finish, but I don't want Tyler Perry on the screen because he just he may have been a competitor if he wasn't a predator.
Everyone is a flawed concept, and Perry has carved out a niche speaking.
It was like, okay, you talking about Tyler Perry? Okay, sorry for the mic. Let's get real, son. Let's get real, son. Yeah, and then you're gonna talk about the like he carved out a niche, typically dealing with a certain demographic of people and whatnot. Yes, but again, now we're dealing with that within something that's different from the range of essentially a play turned into a movie. We're talking about a comic. We're talking about a manga, of all things, which despite the best efforts of Japan trying to trick the rest of the world, mangas are not as socially acceptable and widely popular as Japan wants them to be perceived in Japan. These niggas do everything they can to get the money off of it, but socially they look down on people who indulge in this shit too much. So You again are now, like he said, is dealing with a demographic that's dealing with you're dealing with a niche of a niche of a niche of a niche. That is a problem if you're trying to appeal to people with something that is innately boring, Huey. This shit ain't gonna sell because it ain't what they wanna read, which is what you're supposed to do when your job is to sell some shit. You are a mangaka. You are telling a story. You are trying to get this story across. You need to do whatever you can to make this story seem interesting, to make people want to buy this story. Otherwise, you will come up with the same fucking problems any struggling mangaka would come with. No one wants to read it. It's not worth buying. It ain't worth reading. We're gonna have to cancel it. Now, if you sit there and tell me that Viz Media, after promoting and showcasing this shit, ain't gonna do everything they can to try and keep it going for as long as they can, hoping that they're gonna get some type of DEI money off this shit, yes. Because that's the same fucking thing Disney has done. It's the same fucking thing Paramount do, Nickelodeon, all the other motherfuckers that run with the DEI bullshit. That's how all the fucking gaming companies work and everything. They do whatever they can to push this shit to try and squeeze out all the money they can from the happy little gays that like buying this happy little dumb shit. But the problem, Huey, is that it's not good. It's not good. It's not enjoyable. It doesn't make money. It wastes money. And that is what it's, and that's what Eric July is pointing out. That's all that he's pointing out. And it's like, you can't sit there and expect this medium to not transfer to other things because it ain't nothing but selling the fucking comic. So it's like, hey, this shit don't sell. We know that this shit doesn't sell because even when it's these regular fucking stories based on slice of life shit in Japan on a regular Japanese character for like essentially a regular raced Japanese person dealing with the struggles of life living in Japan, those books don't sell. What the fuck you think it's gonna do to this one? That happens to deal with a demographic of people that, according to you, the Japanese look down on. So how does that even make any sense? How are you understanding this? You just brought up Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry has made his billions off of black people because those are the majority of people who go to see his shows. He has starred white people in a litany of his stories and movies. He had Larry the Cable Guy in one of his movies. He had fucking Kathy Bates in one of his fucking movies. That to me is a big milestone. But yet again, despite all of that, it's like his stories, his movies are predicated towards a particular demographic. That particular demographic has to be in a country that is 10 times the size of fucking Japan. That demographic has to be eclipse the number of half Japanese, half black people that live in Japan. Because the demographic is black women. And those black women are able to bring the black men who want to keep black women happy to go enjoy that shit. Nigga, I have bought Tyler Perry movies for my mother, and she has laughed her ass off because I know she would like them, which is why I bought them. But I don't own any Tyler Perry movies. They suck. They are the same formulaic bullshit done day after day, again and again and again, and I do not like that. I have a problem with that. I actually enjoy some of the comedy from a lot of his movies and plays and shit like that, but the overbearing other shit, can't stand it. Can't stand it. Actually, I enjoy the plays more than I enjoy the movies, as the comedy on there was just better. Honestly, it was just better. But it goes to show that essentially it's weird how it's like you're just pettifogging around this shit, and it's like, oh, when it's something when Eric July brings up something, now the subject matter is bad. When you bring it up, oh, it's golden, and it's like, oh, did you forget that you brought up this? Did you forget that you brought up that? And it's like, nigga, I keep pointing out the fact that you were just the biggest bitch. You just keep dancing around this weird, goofy shit. And it's like, oh, Eric July said this. And it's like, yeah, but it's boring. If it's boring, it's boring. It's boring, it's boring. Oh, it was like, oh, he said what he said. That's what it's called being an artist. And it's like, well, okay, again, but it's like, wouldn't it, for artists as well as a businessman, to point out the fact that what you're doing is essentially something that could be perceived as bad business because we've seen the avenue in which they're traveling be done time and again and again and again, and it leads to terrible results. Pattern recognition is a fucking thing. And as soon as you understand it and recognize it, the better your life will be, especially when it comes to selling something. Fuck, man, this is so dumb. Whew.
A very specific demographic and has made over $1 billion.
Gross.
This idea that you need to appeal to everyone is a flawed concept and again reinforces white defaultism, suggesting that if you hurt white people's feelings, you won't be financially successful.
When did he say that?
Once again, this is a Japanese artist making a book primarily for consumption in Japan about an issue that Japanese people in their own country. This is a story that hasn't been told there as far as I know. So even if you want to claim anti-black racism as a tired trope in the West, it's at least novel in the East. So that's all I wanted to say on this topic.
It wouldn't be. Because again, if it's not something that essentially they would normally deal with or adhere to, it would be, again, a very niche concept. Because that's not something that the majority of the Japanese people would deal with. Anti-black racism? Why would a country that's not primarily black deal with anti-black racism or have multiple historical issues dealing with the racism that comes with black people? It's Japan. It's a whole nother fucking country. As you just so pointed out, it's a whole nother fucking country. So a whole nother fucking country dealing with its own medium of entertainment, which is manga, dealing from a mangaka that is Japanese, who decided to make a story that is about a subject matter that happens in Japan. And it's like, it happens in Japan. I'm not going to deny that it doesn't happen, but I'm saying it happens in Japan. But adhering to all that shit and not seeing the writing on the wall when all manga have had the scrutiny of essentially following or being in something where it's like, it's fucking boring and then getting taken off the shelves, how does that not compute? And it's like, yes, it's not touching on a subject matter that essentially the West and that the East is known for reading about it. But at the same time, why the fuck would you think that that would be the way to get the East to read about this? Like, oh, now all of a sudden the racial inequalities of Japanese people and half black, half Japanese people is something I need to dive into as a Japanese person living in Japan. This is something I really would care about. Or I'll go read One Piece. I keep saying that because, again, that's the biggest fucking comic. So if you're looking at what it is that'll drive sales or people interested in something, it would be following the big one over everything else. And considering the fact that One Piece is a series that deals with literal racism and literal multitude of different races, colors, groups of people, fucking areas, and actual social hierarchies, as well as just overall different assertion of shit, because people live in Sky Islands don't know about rubber or how to talk to people. People who say hasso and shit like that in Sky Islands, and they have wings on their back, but they're still all human. They're all still human. But again, it's in the world of One Piece. That's a series that literally has a commentary on a whole bunch of shit that can tackle and deals with a litany of issues, social cues, and hierarchy systems and whatnot, blah blah blah. And again, that's number one. And that series main character is a boy who wants to be king of the pirates that can stretch. So having all of those archetypes being told in that story in a wonderful and profound way that basically deals and stays with people in a very meaningful and truthful way, outside from something being shoved in your face, it's just telling you, this is a story of how you're bad. I feel bad when I'm here because this is how you treat me. You treat me bad. Gay. That's gay. That's gay. And as someone who actively reads manga, I'm already telling you, I don't really care for slice of life because, again, that's a niche genre of people who read that shit. And then again, I don't really care for seeing something that's going to talk about the racial inequalities between half black and half Japanese person living in Japan if you want me to actually even indulge in something that's part of slice of life. It's boring. It just sounds boring. It sounds boring. It sounds uninteresting. It sounds like some shit that I know is going to be shit. But it's like, for whatever reason, you don't get that. And it's like, I guarantee you, if the story was to have been reversed, turned at a 90-degree angle, if we used to sit here and be talking about a manga that's being created about being a white guy, being in Japan, and dealing with racial inequality as he's going around being racist towards the white people, racist towards the Japanese people, would that be a manga worth reading? No, it'd be stupid. Or what if the Japanese people are just being mean towards him? Would that be a manga worth reading? No, it'd be stupid. Wait, what if he's half Japanese, half white, and he has to deal with the racial inequalities and shit like that, where he's normally only welcomed on like the military bases and shit like that, rather than actually being around Japanese people? No, that sounds boring. What is it that I could do to make this boring? Obviously, get away from the fucking race thing, because it just doesn't work. Man, this is stupid.
I think this immediate overreaction to black people in the diaspora trying to tell their stories is ludicrous. Most of us in the West have grown up hearing white stories and legends and history. We know all there is to know about Vikings and European kingdoms and colonies. But when other groups of people try to tell their history, we got to tone it down for fear of offending people. I think this is nonsense.
No, bitch. How do they go about telling their stories? Nigga, you've seen movies about Vikings. You've heard TV shows. You've seen TV shows, movies, and different things like that talking about Vikings and the glories of these characters and these people's religions and shit like that. Because again, those were the powers that be, and those were the stories that they wanted to share that fit with the powers that be. Hell, most black people probably couldn't even afford a fucking movie ticket, let alone actually would care to think about what it is they're showing on television that their children would see being indoctrinated into like different cultures and aspects of white culture and shit like that. But now that we have the power to, what the fuck is stopping Tyler Perry from creating something that involves black culture? Oh, it's okay that he makes $1 billion and he's worth $1 billion and he doesn't have to adhere to anything. But the nigga now has enough money and power to be able to do something like that. And again, like with Eric July, as you said, I advocated for the fact that he doesn't have to do that thing in order for him to be able to actually indoctrinate, to feel that he's fitting in with anything like that, or to give people a sense of identity from like black culture or whatnot. But he does add some type of concept towards that by the fact that his main character is named based off of something of his family orientation of Africanism and things like that. And he does have a black superhero that people can identify, grow up with, and see that doesn't fit the qualms of a white person being a superhero doing all this shit. And at the same time, by doing that, he immediately breaks the mold and supersede any fucking thing that Tyler Perry has done with his money, power, and influence, because Tyler Perry has not made a character or made a concept or story that would make any black person look at it and go, wow, I'm proud to be black, rather than just laugh at Medea, laugh at the drag. Do you not understand? You not see the difference? You're not getting the bullshit that you spitting? Do you see how that works? You see how one person actually created something that's a positive influence as well as a resounding positive overall for black people in the whole, and the other one that just made money off of black people? Fundamentally, there's an issue. There should be an issue. You should have an issue with one of those peoples over the other. But you're too stupid to understand that. So this is why I have to say what I'm saying. And you desperately need to understand something. Actually, let me go back real quick to get a refresher.
And I tone it down for fear of offending people. I think this is
and
nonsense.
Then it's like, you gotta understand, being showcased or highlighted other people's cultures, different aspects of their race and things like that. These are never anything that essentially are foreign things that people don't want to adhere to. The popularity of manga, the fact that this is something that actually was making sounds in the West, dealing with this manga, is proof that that is not an avenue that is still being replicated. Sometimes people actually are interested in the shit that's being done. They just want it to be entertaining. Fuck, again, how many times I gotta go to One Piece? One Piece literally had an entire arc set on them going to an island that was just deeply rooted in Japanese culture. And literally, in order to understand half of the shit that they had going on, you would need to have a profound knowledge of different Japanese culture and aesthetic from their ancient, periods, because they were dealing with shit that essentially they don't do anymore. But he put that into a story. He put that into a story, and people read it, loved it, and they liked the hell out of it. It's been on TV already. Hell, we've passed that arc, but it happened. It's called Wano. And again, multiple people, in order to understand a lot of the aesthetics of things that happen within anime, need to book up on shit within Japan. Hell, there's a huge debate and argument among people who indulge in Japan, in anime, whether or not to watch something in dubbed or subbed, where you would want to hear it in the actual original Japanese vocals over English, translating it so it could be easier and palpable for for people who speak English and understand it to actually watch it over someone who just wants to read and hear Japanese. It's a crazy thing, but that's an actual thing that exists. So obviously there is, to the compromise of what it is you're saying, there has been multiple things that are showcased that people are openly acceptable to view different things within different cultures, different races and creeds. But it's not no one's fault that Africa doesn't make up shit with Africanism things attached to it that actually would be worth a damn to look at. It's not our fault that there's not a lot of black entertainers that actually want to go about making content that is worthy of being popular by black people. Hell, as much as anyone could say anything, yeah, it's gonna be funny for me to mention him, but Cosby, to say anything bad about Cosby or whatever, how you feel about Bill Cosby, we cannot deny the fact that Bill Cosby had a whole show placated around his family that was all black, and the show was pulling in better numbers than the fucking Super Bowl. Nigga. So, obviously, popular to the contrary. You're wrong. You're just wrong. People have the want and the need to get all of that other shit that they could want culturally from different races and whatnot. It's just a matter of people being willing to do it. No one wants to do it. These people who are now the powers that be, or the people who have the ability to do whatever, don't want to do it. And because they don't want to do it, we're not getting it. So you're going to keep getting white characters. You're going to keep getting these uneventful, stupid ass people making shit to where it's like, I'ma just race swap, gender swap, identity swap some shit because I can't create nothing on my own because I'm a dumbass. And the problem is that dumbasses like you facilitate this shit because you cannot think any further than you can't think or perceive anything better for black people than the shit that they give to black people, Uncle Tom. So you're happy that they are giving you the scraps off the table because you can't possibly think to get some shit off the table, Uncle Tom. You're not understanding that what it is that he is saying is just simply, fundamentally, it is dumb to make something that is completely devoted to talking about a race of a particular group of people, of a particular group of area that has a particular mindset towards this subject matter that possibly will not be interested in even looking into this shit and then expecting positive results. Because we've seen through example this shit happen time and time again, whether it be in America, China, Egypt, Japan, Korea, whatever. This shit don't sell. It doesn't fucking matter just because it happens to be from an actual Japanese local. This shit don't sell because there's shit done by other Japanese people that don't involve half black, half Japanese people, and it don't sell. So your subversion and your rule against the contrary. Rule against contrary. Yeah. Like so your weird subversion into thinking that is like, oh no, this shit has to adhere to this one way is only because of your lack of creativity. It's the mind of an idiot who says shit like this and that indulge in shit like this. Oh, you can only support white supremacy, or there is white supremacy, or you've got white doing this or white doing that. Nigga, no, there's plenty of black content and shit like that exists. You just don't indulge in it. You like the white people shit, so you indulge in the white people shit. You don't have an argument against all the stuff that went negative with the Acolyte because you don't watch the Acolyte. But the Acolyte had black characters and whatnot. Why didn't you watch it then? Do you not understand that? And that's a big fucking issue within your argument. You're using the Acolyte to try and defend your statement, but nigga, you didn't watch the Acolyte. What the fuck does that say? What does that mean? If it's not that it just maybe, the shit wasn't your cup of tea. You didn't want to look at it. It didn't seem entertaining. It looked fucking boring. You know, I'm inclined to just leave on that aspect. But I'm gonna press play one last time. Just cause. But damn did I get you. I got you. I know I did.
And I applaud Yoiko for having the balls to tell a non-majority story in a country that is ethnically 98% homogenous.
So what?
I mean, when a Japanese person is more willing to tell a black story than a black man is, the only word I can think of to describe that black man is embarrassing.
See what I mean? Bitch. he has $1 million comic book company. That I'm gonna go back because I just wanted to end on Eric July. Yeah, this nigga has made millions with his comic book company with a black superhero that essentially would break the mold of popularizing white superheroes in a white dominated space where the majority of the most major, popular, and outstanding comic book characters are genuinely white. Hell, even when he first released ISOM and it made the money that it made, the actual listing of comic book characters. Oh, hold on real quick. Where was I? Yes. But even when Eric July released his comic book, the listing of like the top selling comics and graphic novels at the time did not have his comic in it, whether it was the comic or graphic novel. And it was astounding, and everyone called it out on that because of the fact where it was like, this motherfucker sold more than everybody. And he should have been number one, but he was not placed at number one. And that was something that was truly a sight to behold because it placated exactly how bad the industry was and exactly how great his accomplishment actually was and what he did. And again, I'm not buying an ISOM comic. I don't want to buy an ISOM comic, and I'm cool with that. But give credit where credit is due. You are sitting here and criticizing a black man who essentially made something that he wanted to make, how he wanted to make it, and he did it, and it actually garnered success. But then you criticize the fact because he's not doing it in a way that you find you want him to do it. How come you're not talking about race? How come you're not bringing up tough, difficult subjects about involving characters and race and shit like that? Why aren't you using your platform to just dive deeper into race and shit like that? Why does he have to? And again, the same thing can be said for the Japanese dude being like, all right, why are you making a comic that is diving into the race and everything like that? But the avarice towards that is that, hey, which one made money? Is your story, which seems uninteresting because it's dealing with a niche idea and a niche group of people and a niche demographic with a niche consumer base. Just because you want to tell this story, fine. You want to tell this story and you want to draw it, write it. All right, cool, fine. But what does that do if it ain't gonna sell? What does that matter if it doesn't make any money? To sit there and criticize Eric July over the fact that where it's like, all right, you made what you made, but it's like, yeah, but it made money. And not only did it made money within a popular space that is dominated by white, which is what you would want. That's what you've been advocating. It's like it's attacking them at their core in their wallet. It's doing the good. Oh, it's not diving deeper into a fucking African-based story. Why the fuck would it? He's creating his own fucking story. Just like how they did when they made their superheroes. So how do you not understand that? How are you not getting that? Tom, you gotta understand. You cannot live your life wanting the scraps or thinking that the best thing for you to do is just to rock the fucking table. No, bitch, because all they're going to do is pick up the table and put on brand new food. It's not going to work in your favor. But when you sit there and actually just to get a seat, sit at the table and eat what they eat, they fucking notice. And the problem is that, hey, if you bring something to the table that's delicious, they're going to welcome you to the table every time. You wouldn't get that. Because, Tom, you just love them scraps. You love them scraps. That's why you're talking about scraps. That's why you keep bringing up the scraps. Because you love the scraps. It's like, nigga, you don't even understand the fact of how terrible and systematically flawed your mentality is over the fact that you're essentially disingenuous towards anything Eric July is doing. Yet you can completely advocate anything that this other guy is doing. That just because it happens to touch on a subject matter that is very uncommon for people in the West to even adhere or know about. Nigga, so? What do you fucking do? That still doesn't mean that it's going to be a resounding popular comic, or that it's going to change the fucking world, or that it'll even change the Japanese viewpoint on half black, half Japanese people. Fuck, culturally, manga is looked down upon, as I previously stated. So thinking that anyone would get a positive response from something that they culturally look down upon in this day and age is fucking stupid. Because then they'll be like, where did you get this mentality from? From this manga. Bitch, you reading a comic? Bitch, you over here telling me this shit about these people from a fucking comic? I should kill you and your family on anything. Hot and kitty style. But it's like, how fucking dumb do you have to be to where it's like you're just completely missing the point? And it's like his overall statement is not wrong. Eric July's overall statement was not wrong. It is not something it is not this grandiose statement that basically is just a law or anything like that. But it has been proven time and time again that these people who make these stories or they do these things don't get any profit. They don't make anything. They're not about anything. The character is only as important as the subject matter that they brought them into. And it's always generated around the race. And so because of that, it's never anything special. It's just the race. You just race baiting over and over and over again. And again, you know how many fucking stories exist within anime and manga that have mixed race characters? And they're fine. They're okay, they're beloved, their names echo out throughout the history of anime, and no one gives a damn? A lot. It's a lot. And yet, here we are, dealing with you being disingenuous again over something that makes absolutely no sense for you to just get this inherently wrong. This man to point out the fact that this shit essentially is not profitable. Japan likes the fact that people want to buy their manga in other countries. They need that money. They want that money. It facilitates them. It keeps them afloat. They like it. They like that shit. And for you to basically just completely not get it, it's crazy. It's so fucking crazy. Man, I don't understand your brain being this wrong because it's wrong. It is so wrong. I'm not saying I'm essentially done, but yeah, it's these are the videos I kind of despair making because of the fact of where it's like you have to listen to this dumb shit in order for things to actually make sense. And you got to piece it together in your own brain because it's like, wow, I thought everyone just got it. But instead, it's like, no. They don't. There's too many stupid people out there. And it's just really bad. So, Tom, I got to tell you, I'm highly disappointed in you. I hope, I hope so much that you just come to your senses one day and you can reconcile with the fact that you just don't get it. Maybe watch Acolyte. Maybe watch Acolyte, and then you see the show for what it is. Maybe indulge in something different. Maybe read ISOM. I don't know. You gotta do fucking anything else than what it is you're currently doing because you's a dumbass, man. This has been another episode of Fun with Flame. I've been your host, Danieltheflame, and as always, good people, I hope you have fun. I'm out of here.